Hello and welcome once again. Good morning, good afternoon, whatever, depending on where you are when you're listening to this. To today's See You Next Thursday. This week we've got a really packed schedule, and unfortunately to start with, it's just me and Sport Billy. Hello, Billy.
Hello, Tris.
But we should have Seamus and Rob joining us later when they can be bothered to wake up. Well, when Seamus has finished burning down the house. Cooking his meal. He'll be joining us. He's busy looking for a fire extinguisher at the moment, which could take a while because I've seen the size of his house.
His mansion.
Yeah, I tell you. You could get lost just on the outside of it. Did you see the size of the balconies?
Oh yeah, fantastic house, isn't it?
Yeah. Sorry everyone listening, this probably is really uninteresting to you. I'm really sorry. You wouldn't have a clue what we're talking about, but he sent us pictures of his house and it's like, wow. It looks like some of the royal family live in, you know what I mean? Bloody castle, not a house, wasn't it? Anyway, so we'll move on and we'll get on, right. We'll just jump straight in with the first story, which is come from Steve Rotheram's been saying, has been talking about what happened in France and how obviously he was really upset with the way the French police acted, but now obviously he's got the report on what happened. And he's revealed that French police the intelligence they were using was based on the lies spread by the South Yorkshire police and the Scum newspaper about Hillsborough when and that's what they were basing their plan of action on. It probably explains why they just attacked rather than, they didn't open gates or anything. They were just tear gassing people who were just standing waiting peacefully and stuff. It's no excuse really for what happened at all. Why are they letting local gangs to attack people and stuff like that? But the fact that this has happened shows that if you spread enough shit, it will stick.
Yeah. But this is absolutely disgraceful, this story. I know you brought it out, Tris. And to be fair to Steve Rotheram, he's a good man, and he's a man of the people, and he's, he does a lot for the city, Steve Rotheram. But besides that, he's come with the information that South Yorkshire police, who were the problem at Hillsborough. Let's not get away from that fact. They were the problem at Hillsborough. And they're basing the policing on what happened at Hillsborough as if it was Liverpool's fans' fault. That's absolutely disgraceful. How can they say that after everything that's been proved in the courts? I was just flabbergasted when I heard the news. I couldn't get over it, to be honest with you.
I was furious this morning when I was reading it. I was just, it just shows why we still got the campaign to not buy the Scum. Anybody that buys it, I'm sorry, but you're perpetuating this. And it is something that's perpetuated because the moment this trouble started happening in France, on other sites there was people saying, and I saw it particularly the Forest site, they're the first to always jump on anything. They're full of bullshit. Most of them think they saw Liverpool fans jumping over turnstiles when they were at the other end of the fucking ground or at Hillsborough, but all of them saw something, they claim, even though they couldn't possibly have seen it because they weren't at the same end of the ground, but we won't get into that. Anyway, there's them and a lot of other sites were all saying, as soon as it's ours, typical bloody Scousers, always causing trouble, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's what you got around all of them. Until obviously then it started coming out that it wasn't really, the Liverpool fans were just stood peacefully and then were attacked by the police, and then local gangs were then let in to just finish the job.
Yeah.
Now once the story started emerging, suddenly people are like, okay. Maybe it wasn't just typical Scousers, but it's not typical Scousers anyway.
But Steve Rotheram wouldn't be saying that if it wasn't true, because he is a proper guy, you know what I mean? He is a real good person.
Yeah.
For him to go with that,
It's the French government report he's got it from.
Yeah.
That's what he's talking about.
That's absolutely disgusting. If that was, who gave the authority for that information to be used as from the get-go by the police? Who actually supplied them with this information?
That's the question, isn't
Bad
it?
information, wrong information. And
why was nobody double-checking it?
Oh, I told you last time. I know people who went there who were actually in Paris, and they said it was absolutely disgraceful. And these are people, who are good people, and they were tear gassed and threatened, and had all these ultras there causing problems, and the policing was absolutely pathetic. And I know that firsthand from people who were there. And that shouldn't go on. And now that Rotherham's come out with this, it's just mind-blowingly bad. And there's got to be an inquiry into that as well. But Liverpool fans again getting tarred with the brush that they're all hooligans, all Scousers are, ne'er-do-wells who don't want to work and they robbers and all. Do you know what? It just does nothing for the city. And it's all lies, all lies.
No, and it is a deliberate policy by the government at the time to run down the city, as we know. And people remember that, but they seem to ignore it when it suits them.
No, but there couldn't be a worse body to ask for advice than South Yorkshire Police.
Well, I don't know where this is the point. They got the information was based on that. He didn't say where they got it. Whether they got it direct from South Yorkshire Police, whether they done an internet search and found these stories or what. But you just said, well, who's checking? This is intelligence. They must have, they must have contact before it. They must have contact in the police, the local police in Liverpool. On Merseyside, why were they not speaking to them and asking them about what they can expect? That's what
That's absolutely what they should have done.
I'd be straight in there. My first thought would be, let's ask the local police, what do they, what's it like? What can we expect from? Because they're going to be dealing with the fans most weeks. They must know what to expect. So I'd be speaking to them. Right, what are they like? What do they do? What kind of things? Is there ways? Is there like phrases we could use? Like if there's trouble, if there is a bit of trouble starting, is there like a phrase that had that had immediately kill the trouble because they'd start laughing and you know what I mean? You want to get them on side and be friendly, or at least that's how I think it would be done. And
you think that's the way it would be?
Yeah.
But obviously, it's been a cock-up from start to finish. And again, the city gets tarred all being hooligans, and it was nothing to do with Liverpool fans there. Absolutely nothing to do with them. I'm not saying they're all angels, but that trouble at the Champions League final had nothing to do with Liverpool fans. No. And there were women and children injured, not being able to watch the game, not being able to get in the ground, who were paid legitimate tickets and fees for travel and hotels, and they never got to watch the game. That's absolutely disgraceful because of the French police taking not so much advice, but taking it as read that Liverpool fans were coming to cause trouble. And it's just out of order, and it's got to be investigated more than what it is already.
And like I said, if anybody wants to know why we still say in Liverpool, don't buy the scum, there you go, there's your answer. Because they were the ones who spread this bullshit and kept it going. If it wasn't for them, nobody would have heard these stories, because the police were, that was the method they used to spread it. They went to all the newspapers and all the rest. There's no way we're printing that. We know it's lies. But the Sun didn't care.
I can't think of an outlet in Liverpool where they still sell the Sun. It's just a disgrace of a paper.
They do sell it in Southport, because every time when I was there visiting with we're staying with my parents or that, we'd go in and just to say, oh, I'm not buying anything from here because they sell the scum, and walk out again. You know, you
Well, that's
pick
what
up
I'm saying.
a ton of
Yeah.
things, go to the counter to go and pay for it, you know, and I mean loads. You just grab anything and everything once
Yeah.
you've seen they sell the scum. And you take it to the counter, and then you'd wait until they rung it out, and they say, nah, I don't want it now, because you sell the scum, and walk out. Don't be,
Yeah.
You know, I don't care if it's messing them about.
On building sites, yeah, if anyone's got the sun, it gets ripped up. As soon as it's on the table, it gets ripped up.
It's not
And-
even
and
good enough to
rightfully
wipe
so.
your ass on.
No.
No. Anyway, so let's move on, because this, you know, it's a story that just really winds me up.
Yeah, yeah.
So, right, well, this is the bit that there's a lot to discuss here, as you know. I mean, when you've seen all the notes I've got for today, because I sent you them. So,
Yeah.
right. So we're going to talk about the Barcelona, Real Madrid, La Liga whines to UEFA about Manchester City and PSG. I mean, obviously you've had Juan Laporta asking, Barcelona president, asking for stricter rules on state-owned clubs, saying they're unbalancing in European football. I can only, like I said, I can only assume it's because they're not allowing Barca and Madrid to dominate everything, because they never seem to have a problem when they were state-owned, when they had state backing, which they still have. Then you've got La Liga and Javier Tebas making a formal complaint to UEFA about City and PSG, because I absolutely understand what they're saying. They are they are getting around FFP rules. There's no denying that that what they're doing is a case of financial doping. Yes, we agree. Nobody's arguing that. But Real Madrid and Barcelona have been doing it for 40, 50, 60 years, however long. That's why Real Madrid were dominating at the start of it, not because of anything else.
Yeah, they've got a chief.
They were backed by what's his face. They were the first case of sports washing that I know of. Obviously, they were the ones that. The dictator of Spain, you know what I mean, don't you? And his name's
Franco.
Yeah, Franco. He decided, he wasn't even this is the thing, he wasn't even a Real Madrid fan, but he decided they were the team he was going to use for sports wash, and he backed them with state funds. And we know the story, there was the time when they were in trouble, they had a debt of X amount, I think it was 220 million, so their training ground was bought off them for 220 million, and then they were given with a brand, and they were given, and they're all constructed and paid for by the government, a brand new training ground, bigger, with better, better equipped and much better for free. On top of it, and the ground, so the land that they bought off them at the time was worth about 25 million. So you're not telling me that wasn't cheap.
No, it's gone on for years, just as you say. Yeah. They've always flouted the rules, them too. I know it happens in sport, and I think it happens even in England at the moment with City, and in France with PSG. We all know who the flouters of the laws are. And for them two to moan, they've got the biggest cheek out of anyone, haven't they?
And then La Liga making a formal complaint where it's like, oh come on, pot kettle everyone.
I know, yeah. Yeah, beggars belief, doesn't it? It really does.
If it had been someone else, maybe like, if AOU come out and complain about it, you hold your hands up and say fair dues, because they haven't had state resistance. They've got the 50+1 rule in Germany, as we know. We'll probably hopefully get a chance to discuss that later. Where their fan have to own over half the club.
Yeah.
So, and then the Bundesliga doesn't have these kind of financial doping exceptions to RBL, obviously. So if they come out and complain, you'd be out in your hands up saying, okay, they've got a point. La Liga and Barcelona and Real Madrid to come out and whine. You just think,
it does beg a belief.
Yeah. It's like that. It'd be like Derby moaning about TV cheating. You know, you financially cheating. You just say, you know, you just can't, can you? You can't. They've got some barefaced cheek there, though, haven't they? Those Spanish. I mean, that is
Haven't they
barefaced
just?
cheek. See,
But as you say, it's been going on for donkey's years, and you'd think they'd keep their mouth shut, wouldn't you? You really would.
So it's incredible that they, you know, that they've done this. I mean, wow. I wouldn't have to cheat myself. I'd just keep my mouth shut and get on with it.
Absolutely, you would, yeah.
You know what they'll do? They'll use this as an excuse. This is with, you know, the Super League. Those two are still pushing it. Remember?
Yeah, it's still got raising its ugly head, but
yeah, exactly. That's what they'll do is they'll use that because City and PSG. PSG weren't involved, remember? Well, I think they'll use it to push for a Super League again. They'll push it because they have been. They've been mentioning it again. So I think that's what this is about, really. When UEFA doesn't do anything about City and PSG, they won't do anything about City and PSG. For starters, PSG isn't the PSG president, the head of the ECA now, the European Club Association and stuff. So you can't see them.
It's riddled with corruption, isn't it, from top to bottom? All the, especially the bigger clubs. They are, you know, you've got these lawyers and these people who know how to get around these things, and you know, we know how corrupt it is, really. We're not kidding anyone. It's just not on, but they get away with it, and until they stop getting away with it, they're going to do it.
Yeah, but it'll never happen. It's a bit like in Italy, where, you know, Juve continually get done for cheating and match fixing and stuff, and it just goes on again a few years later. You know, they never actually do anything to stop it. So
that's why they've got no credibility. The UEFA, FIFA, they haven't got no, and especially, you know, there was the other fella pulling out of the trial for his corruption, Sepp Blatter. You know, it's all absolute tissue of lies that they're coming out with, and you know, you just can't trust any of them. Well, you should be disbarred, a lot of them.
Well, Black is the one being done for fraud and that. His bloody protege's the man in charge of FIFA now, so how is it going to change? It won't know. We all know it's going to be exactly the same. Just carry on the same.
Yeah.
Just a different man raking in the cash at the top, that's all.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly it, Tris.
And he'll probably have learned how to hide stuff better, because he's watched what happened with Blatter and saw how he got caught, so he'll have figured out how not to get caught. Yeah. That's all that'll happen.
Platini, they're all the same, aren't they? They're all crooks. And it's riddled with them from top to bottom. I wouldn't trust any of them bodies at all.
Sadly, yeah. So anyway, while we're on the subject of the Spanish, let's move on to Florentino Perez has completely outdone himself with this today, hasn't he? Yesterday, sorry. When he hit out, you know, apart from whining about City and PSG, then go on about. He did an interview on TV. He promised to do it if Real Madrid won the Champions League. This for a TV channel in Spain. And he kept his promise, went on, and he just had to. But one of the things he said, he was talking about Mbappe. They asked him about him turning down the move, and he put the blame. But basically said Emmanuel Macron was phoning up Mbappe and told him to stay. Basically, convinced him to stay. The mayor of Paris was doing so as well, and all kinds of other things. And the Qataris were throwing money at him. He said, they sacked Leonardo because Mbappe didn't like him, so that was Perez got rid of him, and they brought in Campos because Mbappe liked him when they were at Monaco. What else did he say? He also said he didn't want him anyway because he isn't that good, and good players have already joined Real Madrid, so they didn't want him. He wouldn't be good enough. But the best was, he then went on, and we never wanted Haaland either, because we've already got Benzema, and Haaland would have only been on the bench. We wouldn't have wanted to sit on the bench. He's just thinking, what the fuck?
I know,
Oh
yeah.
my God. Oh God. Yeah. You're not a Jim Fiddler or anything, are you, mate?
But if you're looking for corruption, you've got to look at them and Macron. All politicians are corrupt anyway, so it makes the perfect sense to me that Macron would get involved.
Yeah. I can believe that, but I just thought like, what does it matter? If it was, I'll guarantee, if he thought it'd have helped, he'd have had the Spanish president and all that on the phone to get him to make the move. He thought it'd make a difference, so I don't see that it really is relevant. I mean, you do the same thing. Yeah, if it was, I don't know, say Pele was playing for Everton, and he was about to leave. If you could get if you could get whoever, I mean, it wouldn't be Bozzy Johnson, would it? Because if Bozzy Johnson had to phone up and said, "I can you stay?" the first thing he'd do is say, "Right, no, I'm going now." Then, but if you had somebody that that he respected in power, you'd get it involved, wouldn't you? If you were in charge of Everton and you wanted to keep Pele at your club, I mean, that's all it is. It's just them playing all the hands they could. To keep them happy. I don't see a problem with that, to be honest.
No, listen,
The only time that becomes a problem is if Macron's been paid to do it, and I don't think he would. I think he would have I think he would have done it off his own back just to keep him in France, because they want to keep the best players in France.
I can see that. I can see why that would happen. Yeah, but really, politicians shouldn't get involved in sports. It makes them look a bit silly to me, like.
Yeah, no, he shouldn't have done it, but it's hardly something to whine about from Perez, considering he would have done exactly the same thing if he could have. So it's just another case of sour grapes, isn't it, with him? Just everything. It's always just he can't let go. He can't accept anything, can he? It's never his fault or anything. It's always somebody else at fault.
Yeah, absolutely. Book person.
It is interesting though about Campos, because whether or not he's been appointed to appease Mbappe, he will have a completely different outlook on transfers there.
So have they definitely got Campos?
Yeah, Campos got appointed the other day.
Oh right, okay, I didn't know he'd definitely gone.
Yeah, he'd been appointed from Leonardo got sacked a week or so ago, I think it was. And then they brought in Campos to take over, who used to be at Monaco and Lille, who was in charge, he was the one that was making the transfers when Lille won the league.
It's saying something when a player can get a coach.
Well, Leonardo was the director of football, mate. He was.
Yeah, director of football. So.
Yeah, and Campos is actually appointed as football advisor, they've called him.
Oh, right, okay.
But yeah, he'll basically be like a director of football, he'll take charge of the recruitment policy. I think he'll be really good, to be honest. I think because he'll actually look for value. They won't, because like you were saying, Ed too was saying, remember he was saying that they decided against Nunes because they thought they could get better value from other deals. I think it was Nunes, wasn't it? Was it Nunes he said? I think it was. And stuff like that. So yeah, I think it'll actually be a huge step up for them moving away from Leonardo, because let's face it, he was only there because he was mates with the Qatari guy, who's Al Khalifa. That's the only reason Leonardo was there, and because he's ex-PSG player, not because he's anything good at the job, because he was useless.
Yeah.
Some of the dross they bought. But yeah, so I think it'll be a good. I think they'll be. To be honest, I think they're more of a threat for actually winning the Champions League now with Campos there.
All right. I don't know much about Campos. I know he's got a good reputation.
Oh, he's brilliant, mate. He used at Monaco when they were, when they won the league and that. Hence why Mbappe knows him, because he was under him at Monaco. Remember they won the league? He was the one that did the transfers and built the team. Then he moved to Lille, built a team that won the League One there against. Obviously, when you're competing against PSG with their untold minions, that shows what kind of job he did.
Yeah, good CV.
Lille were in absolute, as we'll talk about later. Lille were in real financial difficulties at the time, as well. We'll talk a bit about that later. But yeah, so like, you know, it wasn't like he had unlimited amounts of money to go and spend at Lille or anything. He didn't even have decent money to spend. He was basically, mostly it was free transfers and stuff. He brought in players like Balotelli and stuff just because, like, it was like a case of who they could get rather than, and on the cheap, like, who needed to rebuild his career rather than getting at the best. Well, just go out and buy the best. So I think I think that's a huge thing for them. If they can get a top class coach in now. I don't know who, but if they can bring in a top class coach, so I don't think Jose Mourinho is the right choice. The one no Campos wanted in.
Right.
But yeah, they get a good coach in. I think they're a genuine threat to win the Champions League at last. Maybe not next season, but the season after. Like, I think they, you know, you could actually be in contention in my opinion.
All right. And who do you think's going to get the gig, Chris?
I gotta agree with Seamus here, who just posted it on the chat and YouTube. I think Christophe Galtier will get it. I think he'll do a good job. I like him as a coach. I think he's very good. I know Ed 2 rates him highly as well. He said it a few times. I think he's saying PSG should look at him. They already are, mate. That's why I was saying. That's why I was suggesting he's probably the most likely. They wanted Jose Mourinho, but he's not interested in it yet. Who's the other one? I've forgotten. There was another one as well. But Christophe Galtier looks like he's the choice, basically, because of they're in a difficult position. They've got plenty of money, but they don't have a lot of people knocking down the door to join them. And that's why I think Campos is a good choice, because he can find the gems rather than just go and buy big. You know, like Leonardo was just trying to buy names. It was a bit like Man United are doing now, their transfer policy. Bringing in Campos, he'll change it completely. He'll look for the best. It'll
be interesting to see them, won't it? See how he gets on.
Yeah, I think they'll be a real threat now. I'm really looking forward to seeing how he gets on, to be honest. Though I'm not a big fan of PSG, as you know. Don't like them at all. But
No.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we'll move on, because we mentioned the City group a minute ago, and it was Steve Forbes joined the City group, taking charge of their Belgium side, SK Lommel, in the Belgium secretary. Apparently they finished something like 8
that's a weird one, isn't it?
last season. Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Of all the people to appoint Steve Forbes, where did he get his name from?
I don't know.
What's he ever done in management?
I remember him assisting Wenger, but that's about it. Do you know, my only experience with him, I met him at Darlington train station when my mum and dad lived near there, and he joined Sunderland, and he got off the train at Darlington train station. I don't know why Darlington, I'm assuming he must have lived in the area. You know, they must have moved to the area, because they just signed there, and he's there, and he got off the train. He's holding just a baby. His missus gets off the train, 300 bags she's carrying. Look at all the suitcases and all that. And I remember Steve Forbes, like a big guy. He really is a big guy. He's like 6'4", 6'5". He's a big monster guy. And he's just got this tiny little baby in his arms. That's it. Nothing else. Not carrying his backpack, nothing. And his wife couldn't have been more than 5'2". She was a tiny, or she might be 6 foot tall, but against him, she looked like a tiny little thing. Like, she's carrying all these suitcases on. And, like, nobody was helping her. And he's not taking a blind bit of notice of her. She just thought, well, chivalry's not dead, is it? Let's be honest.
But you think that's really his calling? The Belgium second division, because I can't see him getting a job anywhere else. Can you? His record is absolutely incredibly bad.
Well, I don't know if he been a manager anywhere else. I thought this was like his first time. I don't remember him being a manager anywhere else. I know he assisted Wenger for a while when they had, you know, during the period when they had no money to spend. So, but I don't know. Maybe. But just they normally seem to go for ones they think hold in high regard, don't they? To put in charge of teams. You know, they look at them. You know, they put them at these littler teams like Glomel and Melbourne City and New York City and that, like Patrick Vieira and that. Ones that they think have a future. You know, going to move up, like in their city.
Yeah.
So you know, maybe they see something in Steve Ball. I don't know. Bit of a surprise. Like I said, I only really remember him from Arsenal.
Yeah, that's all I remember him from, really. But
and he was number 2
what's
there.
he done to get a gig, you know, in the second division of the Belgian league?
I don't know. It's very strange. I don't get it. I really don't get it. But you know, good luck to him. Let's see what he does. He might turn out to be the greatest manager of all time. That just undiscovered. Maybe he's Mike Bassett too.
It might be, yeah. Could be Mike Bassett too. And how about company, Chris?
Yeah, new Burnley boss is a bit of a surprise one. They've got no money. They're in financial difficulties. I'm very surprised he's gone there.
Yeah, I am, yeah.
I've seen people say they think he'll be a draw to players, so he'll get better players than Burnley would normally get. Like, because obviously they got relegated, so they're only in the Championship, but they've got no fucking money. How are they going to play these? How are they going to pay these players? You know, it's all very well saying they could, you know, he could attract them, but like, what big name's going to play for Burnley on high
The back of company, yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just because companies, I just don't see it. I'm really bemused by this one. Maybe, I mean, he seemed to do fairly well at Anderlecht, third and then second. I think it was.
Yeah.
Fourth and third, something like that it was. But
it seems a bit of a step down for him, doesn't it? You know, if he's been at Anderlecht to come to Burnley, who've just been relegated without a lot of money. I don't know where, you know, how that makes sense to me, like.
Yeah, I mean, Anderlecht wouldn't have had a lot of money, to be fair.
But they're still a big draw, aren't they? In Netherlands, you know?
Belgium.
Sorry, in Belgium, yeah. And you know, there's still a pretty big draw there. I can't see how he's moving up. I think he's moving down or sideways to go to Burnley. Probably down.
Yeah, with their financial difficulties, the relegation, they've got to pay back that big loan, haven't they?
Yeah, they get a parachute payment, of course, but you know, it's not going to be enough to get them back up, I wouldn't suggest.
No, not unless he turns out to be a new Sean Dyche who can manage on peanuts. But
maybe he'd have to be, I think he'd have to be.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it does seem an odd one. I mean, an odd choice to come back to it. Yeah, the only reason it seems to make sense, the only sense it makes to me is that he can go back home to where he lived, because he was at, 11 years he was there or something ridiculous like that. He was there for a long time. It wouldn't be far from him,
would it? Wouldn't be far from him, because basically part of Greater Manchester anyway.
Yeah, so he'd just go home, he'd go back home to wherever he lived there before. Yeah, it does seem a very odd choice. I mean, both sides, it doesn't seem like he's, you know, maybe he'll turn out to be fantastic, who knows. But it does seem an odd one.
Yeah. Be an interesting one to follow that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how we get on, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, we go back to, I think we're going to have to go back to French football quickly for a bit now. Because Bordeaux got relegated last season. They finished, you know, they had a lot of. Remember we talked about they had trouble with the fans at the end because they got relegated down to the second tier league to stay on the pitch.
All French have trouble with the fans.
Yeah, that's true. They've been having a lot of trouble. Yeah, but now the League Professionnel or whatever it is, whatever it is. Proper name is the LFP. They've now relegated them down to the third tier for financial issues. They've done this has happened to them before, to be honest. 1991 they got demoted for financial issues too, but this time, you know, they're going to fight. They've said it's unjust and that, but at the moment they're going to be starting off in the third tier. the thing is, they're owned by Gerard Lopez. Remember we said about we were saying about Lille were in financial difficulties.
Yeah,
The
yeah, I
reason
remember.
Gerard Lopez was the reason why they were in financial difficulties because he owned Lille, and he got them in such a financial mess that the creditors there kicked him out. Basically, took control of the club off him and booted him out, and they're still struggling to rectify it now. They were also in trouble with the LFP over their finances, but they've agreed a plan of action which involves them having to sell players to pay down their debt, to keep them on financial straight and narrow because of Gerard Lopez. He also used to own a Belgian club called Mouscron. He bought it in 2020. They were relegated in 2021. Got into such financial difficulties under him that they were liquidated in May of this year. So this guy's obviously...
So he's got a good reputation then.
Well, yeah, he's got a great track record. He'll be buying Derby County next week. Possibly the new Everton owner to come, or maybe he'll get him. Yeah, so you just wonder how do these people keep getting clubs? I mean, surely they must. After he'd owned Lille, surely he should have been banned from owning another club.
You would think so, wouldn't you? Have France got a similar setup to what we've got in the Premier League, where you've got to be investigated and?
Well, it's not just the Premier League, it's the Football League as well, do it? The fitness
yeah.
owners test, but
that's what I'm saying.
We know because, we'll talk. I mean, we may as well go on to it now. Kirkner, who pulled out of the Derby deal because he said it was too difficult to move money into the UK, which I've never heard anybody having problems doing that before. And I know plenty of people who've had to move, involved in this kind of thing, and they've never had any problems. Plenty of them have done it before to buy clubs, never struggled. Suddenly he's struggling because obviously he didn't have any, but he passed the fit and proper owner test. So, it just seems like they'd let any bugger buy it. And
where the Derby at now then, Tris?
Oh, they're in real trouble because the EFL have stepped in and keeping a close eye on what's going on. Their oversight now on the deal, closely looking. So basically, they said because they're about to, it's going to be kicking off in a couple of, in a month or so. Is it next month? Is it? It is, isn't it? The end of July it kicks off this season. Sure it is.
Right.
So they've not got long to get it, or they won't be able to fulfil their fixtures. You know what I mean? They've got to make sure that. Haven't
they got other things hanging over them as well? But they got deducted points. But haven't they got more trouble financially? Where you might be getting even more points.
Yeah, I think they're suspended though still, aren't they? Those ones.
Oh, they're suspended.
There is other claims hanging over them as well, but I don't think they'll never bother. They're not going to put them in. I mean, Derby have been getting away with it for years. There's no way they're going to suddenly start slamming them now. I don't understand how they're still going, to be honest. But yeah, Mike Ashley's there, and who's the other? There's another potential bidder as well looking at it. I mean, really, gosh, I think. The thing, a club like Derby, which needs to live within its means, and really, much as I dislike him intensely, surely the obvious answer was just to sell to Mike Ashley. Sports Direct is based in the area. It's good, he'll run it fine. Okay, he won't spend all the money. He'll run below where he'll want to make a profit out of it. But I don't see an issue with clubs running like that. To be honest, my problem isn't that. It's just because I don't like him. That's the problem I have with him. But if you want a man to run it responsibly.
Yeah, it's got to be. Yeah, but haven't they got a lot of players on high wages there as well? From the Lampard era, they've got a.
They've got 5 players.
They must have some players still there, Trust, who are earning good money.
They've only got 5 players on the books now.
All right. Oh, I didn't
Literally,
know.
5 senior players on the books. We're saying they've got to sort it out, or they can't fulfil their fixtures. And there's Mike Ashley, and there's a consortium which involves another, a former chairman of the club who's just stepped in as well. But time's running out. I don't think they can get it done now. And the administrators are clearly clueless.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really fear for them for the future.
They could go out. They could be another Perry, couldn't they? Really, they could go out to business.
Yeah, I could see them more likely they'll just end up in the in the non-league. They just get demoted out of the EFL. I think they're strong enough that they can survive it. But yeah, it's a message they've got like this. It's a bit like Everton, really. We might as well go on to them while we're talking about a mess.
Go on then, mate. You go on about Everton.
Yeah. Well, it's just the Peter Kenyon thing. I mean, what do you think of that?
That's a strange one, isn't it?
Where's Seamus for this one? He might have some info. He might have Peter Kenyon well from his time at Man United.
Yeah, this is where you need Ed 002 to come in. He's great with financial things. Oh, I can't see Moshiri, after the money is invested, just giving up on Everton. I think there's going to be more. He's going to come up and say a lot of things. He won't want Everton taken over from him.
Not being funny, but Moshiri hasn't put a penny in. All that money was Usmanov's, and Usmanov has been.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
So I think maybe Kenyon's sniffing an opportunity here. The thing that gets to me is what happens to what happens to this? They've got a massive FFP problem to sort out. If somebody comes in, how much can they invest to get around it? Because I haven't had a chance to look into this. There's so much to get through. I haven't had a chance to really sit and look into this and find out what's going. Whether he can just go in and say, right, you need we're 300 million down on FFP. We can invest 300 million to when we buy it. Can they do that? I mean, this is where it really would be nice.
But there's the stadium project as well, which is it's just taking a lot of money. That's why I don't think Moshiri will just walk away and allow it to happen. I think he's there for the long haul. I can't see Moshiri just giving up on Everton. He's in too much.
How much will the consortium pay though? If they'll pay out, pay him so he's up, maybe he would walk away. Why wouldn't he? Might be a good time to walk away before he gets into any more shit.
It might be the best thing for everyone if he walks away after the way he's been conducting himself since he's been here.
He's been a disaster. It's almost, it seems too good to be true that somebody wants to buy it off him.
Yeah. I don't think there'd be many tears shed if he did go, to be honest with you.
No.
I know he's put a lot of money in, but it's been wasted money, isn't it? Most of it's been wasted.
Yeah, he hasn't got a clue how to spend it, and his advisors were just like,
Well, one of his advisors was Kia Jarabchin, and I think we all know enough about him to be wary of anything he comes up with.
Yeah, when you want to talk about corruption in football, Kia Jarabchin's your man. He's the key man in that regard.
Right to the top of the tree.
Oh yeah, yeah. He knows it all, and he's done it all and been involved in it all. It's astonishing that he's still allowed to have involvement with football.
Yeah.
Until they get rid of
people
like that, it'll never change.
Do you know who's coming in with Kenyon, Tris? Do you know who's coming in with
I don't know any of the other names. I only know Kenyon. I have read it, but I didn't note it down, mate, because I was. Just as you see the list of stuff we had. Yeah, I didn't really have time to sit and get in quickly. I wrote it down hoping I'd get a chance to go back and do it. It was so fast. And I just didn't have time to get back to it. I'm sorry. I would have loved to have, to have a proper look to see who's involved. I'm assuming there'll be some kind of investment company behind it, won't there? Some kind of looking to get a return in the long term. That's probably providing the funding. So, but there's probably quite a few that don't want to be named anyway. They usually in these things. They don't want their involvement.
But I think it would be. I don't think it'd be a lot of disappointed Evertonians if Moshiri did go.
See,
because I know he's apologised for the way he acted, but he just hasn't been good enough, has he? Let's be honest about it.
An apology doesn't help. What you want to see is changes, and I haven't seen any sign of it yet. And Kenyon, I seem to remember him doing all right at United. Maybe I'm wrong. I might be completely wrong. You know, I might be completely misremembering, because I'm really, you know, you know, it's difficult to remember what he was.
Yeah,
I remember what he looked like. I remember what he looked like. I can remember seeing him around at the games and that, but it was a long time ago, and my memory's a bit. And I may be getting mixed up because they were successful at the time, but that might have been more because of Ferguson and him, etc. You know what I mean? Whether he,
as you say, Deeps would probably know better than anyone, wouldn't he? Because he'll have.
I don't know.
I'm sure
he might have even been alive then, knowing him. He's only like 15, isn't he?
No, he might have been a private school then, mightn't he?
Yeah, that's true, yeah. Yeah, he's busy getting his nanny to cook him dinner now, that's why he's not here. So as bad as Abid. Abid with his mani pedis and, you know, his boxing lessons and whatever else he's having. Can't do it this week because he's, you know, he's doing a round the world cruise or whatever, you know, each time. Now we got him in his mansion.
They're all money men besides me and you, sir.
We're doing something wrong, aren't we?
Yeah. Maybe they're two of the people who are buying, haven't we, Kenyon?
Yeah,
maybe they're part of the consortium.
That might be why they're not on. That's it. Now we know where our bid's been these last few weeks. He's been building.
Yeah.
That's what he is.
Dodgy dealings with Everton.
Yeah. Well, I don't actually know. I don't know what he, you know, I don't know what he was like there. I don't know, as in like, because he was the main mover behind, you know, Gillette getting involved in the first place, because he wanted to get into football. He was into it. So.
That was a bad time for Liverpool when them two were in.
Yeah, but how much was that down to them? I keep saying that they did a lot to improve the situation at Liverpool and make them more professional than they were the day before. The problem they had is they just ran out of money. They were hit with a worldwide recession here, and you know the funding they've been promised, the investments that they've been promised, and the loans just were no longer available to them. So I sometimes feel like they get a bit of a they weren't great. Let's put it this way: they were awful. But
yeah, I think it coincided with Liverpool. I think it coincided when Liverpool had a pretty poor squad as well, and things weren't great financially for them. And, you know, I'm not saying that Gillette and Hicks were the absolute fault of that era, but, you know, I don't think they've done much to help Liverpool, because they were coming, you know, with a plan to build Liverpool back up again, which Liverpool have done now, but with them at the helm, and it just didn't work out for them, did it?
Well, they had a few, I mean, there was a few problems. The starters, they fell out with each other, Gillette and Hicks. They didn't get on.
Yeah.
As it turned out, they just didn't realise until they worked together they didn't like each other. So they fell out, and then obviously Rafa and Rick Parry were at odds, and they took different sides. See, that's what worries me, is Foster and George Gillette took Rick Parry's side, and Rick Parry is a complete and utter useless turd. He knows absolutely F all about football. What he knows about football, you could write on the back of the smallest postage stamp in the world with a marker pen and have plenty of room to spare, because it would be just blank. The guy is a moron. He really is. And how he's still involved in the game is just absolutely beyond me. And I see Seamus has joined us now. He obviously got excited with the thought of talking about Foster Gillette. Maybe he's got some info about him. Or maybe he wants to talk about being involved in a consortium by Everton, maybe. Is that what it is, Seamus?
First of all, greetings everybody.
Yeah.
Hey mate.
Just, I don't think I could buy even an Evertonian shirt, let alone the whole club.
You wouldn't want a shirt though, let's be honest. You wouldn't want an Everton shirt. I could get you plenty for free. I was, you know, But yeah,
No, if
they're
it,
not good.
come on, Chris. If it's for free, anything
Yeah, I still
goes.
wouldn't have it. And mate, I still wouldn't have it. I remember I used to come, my uncle's best friend was Gary Speed, and I used to caddy for them when they were playing golf, just so I could chat to Gary Speed, like, 'cause I hate golf. Really don't like, that's why I didn't play. So I just used to caddy for them, just to go, have a chat with him, like, about football and whoever else was, making up the group, like, because we usually had a couple of footballers, like, with them as well, like. And Gary Speed, obviously, lovely man, honestly, but he used to keep trying to give me Everton tickets, because he was playing for Everton at the time, he was trying to keep giving me tickets and shirts for Everton. It's like, I don't fucking want that. Saying it's free, I'm saying you couldn't pay me enough to take that shite off your hands, I'm sorry.
You'll want one shortly, I'm telling you.
If I'd known you then, I would have got you signed ones. But, like, obviously I didn't know you then, Phil, so...
Deeps, what you know about Kenyon?
Yeah, good thinking.
Nothing.
You don't
Sorry
remember
to say, but nothing.
You don't remember Kenyon, no?
What has he done before for me to remember?
He was just
He was
Kenyon-
United, wasn't he?
No, if he was there before Ronaldo, then you can just say I wasn't involved, even as a supporter.
okay.
Genuinely, it's I don't support United because of Ronaldo, but my point is I only started watching football after 2006.
Right, no worries.
All right.
No worries, Pete. We just thought you
That's
might know,
okay, mate.
you might have heard something about him. That's all.
Oh, I thought he was ex-Chelsea guy.
He did.
He had
have
something to
involvement
do
with
with Chelsea as well,
yes,
yeah.
he did. Yeah. Good point. I'd forgotten
Yeah.
about that. That-
Yeah,
that's
I
a
think
very
that
good point.
no, that is his thing, and I think that is why 8002 has said he is one of the
Yeah.
better options for Everton.
Right. In that case, that'd make me feel a lot safer if I was Everton fan. Yeah,
No,
if I-
but then again, you have to look at the whole picture. Is he better because other are worse, or is good?
Good point.
Both.
Well, as long as it's a step in the right direction, though. I mean, it could be worse. Look
Yeah,
at-
but when the measuring stick is Farhad Mosiri, then
that's
it's
a fair
not
point.
that hard to clear the boundary.
Well, there is Gerard Lopez at when he was at Lille, Mouscron, and now Bordeaux.
And also there's this name
Oh.
it has Dildo Brothers.
Who?
The Dildo Brothers at West Ham.
Oh yes, yeah. But to be fair, to them, they didn't do too badly when they were at Birmingham City. And when you look at them now, the mess they're in now, since they've sold it, they're in an utter mess. I mean, and now they look like they're about to be bought by Lawrence Bassini, who used to own Watford. He's been declared bankrupt twice, banned from football for 3 years over his financial dealings. Constantly gets into litigation with struggling clubs, and and one of the local MPs in Birmingham has actually asked the government to block the sale because he's that bad. But they reckon he can pass the fitting out proper owners test. How the fuck does that happen?
For which club?
Birmingham City.
Oh, come on.
I mean, how
Surely it should be a hard and fast rule that if you've been involved with a club that has suffered financial problems, then you shouldn't be allowed back.
Well, if you've been banned from football for
Unless
3
you
years,
prove, yeah.
if you've been banned from football, full stop, you should be banned from ownership of a club. That's it. If you've had any kind of ban from football, whether it's drugs or whatever, it should just be an automatic. You're obviously not a fit and proper person to own because you're a cheat.
Signed
You've
die,
done
yeah.
something to
Absolutely
cheat.
signed die.
So that's it. Shouldn't be allowed to own a club because obviously you've been caught cheating once. That's it. You've got to have a line somewhere to pull, and that should be. But the guy's been declared bankrupt twice. He put Watford in financial difficulties and stuff. I mean, how could he be allowed? I mean, why is this MP? I mean, she's having to appeal to the government to block the sale. Surely the EFL should be stepping in and saying, "Sorry, mate, you're not going to buy them. You're not. We can't have you involved. I'm sorry." So that should be what should be happening. It shouldn't be going to the it shouldn't be a case of the government having to step in at all.
Yeah, I agree, Chris.
Bizarre. I mean, it makes no sense. Money is just a joke in football anyway. But when they do things like that, I mean, you have to draw a line somewhere. Where people like him should be just not allowed to play football clubs. It is that simple. While we're on the subject of money, I see Gareth Bale was complaining about greed by UEFA and FIFA, making the players play so many games so they can make money out of it and that. I get it, because like Modric came out and said the same, said it was inhumane to be forced to play 4 games in 10 days at the end of a long season in the Nations League. Wenger's called for the Nations League to be scrapped. I fully agree with all of that. It should be scrapped. But when Bale's coming out and complaining about making the players play too many games and it's just about greed, he barely.
And what was he on? 600,000 a week.
600k a week. He sat on his ass, wouldn't move from that. He wouldn't leave until he got an offer that would cover his wages. And they're complaining about players being asked to play too many games when he sits on his ass on his fucking playing golf all day instead of playing anyway. He barely plays a fucking game. How can he? Just keep your mouth shut, Gareth. You don't have. You're just making it look stupid. I'd agree with if somebody else. When Modric comes out and says it, fully agree. There's too many games. If the players look knackered at the end, these Nation League games are just a joke. Everyone knows it and everyone thinks it. It should have been scrapped anyway because of the World Cup being, where it is this year. But Gareth Bale.
Well, Wenger wants it scrapped as well, doesn't he, Chris?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's
had a go.
Do you think it's working, Deep?
What, the Nations League?
Yeah.
Who cares? I think
exactly the point.
If I'm being honest, they're even less important than the international friendlies from my point of view. I care even less.
Yeah, and that's the problem. Is they were supposed to change that. They were supposed to make do away with international friendlies and make games meaningful, but they're not. They're even less meaningful, and that's been a big problem. It's going to have the opposite effect to what it should have.
Yeah, but I did enjoy one of the results from the games.
You're going to say Hungary, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
You're only saying hungry because you've been doing cooking. That's the only thing you're saying, hungry.
No, but I finished my dinner, so I'm full now. Hungry no more.
Oh, God. Jokes don't get any better on here, do they?
No.
Oh, God.
But it is a waste of time, this Nations League, isn't it? I don't know why people pay good money to go and watch it. I really don't.
Because they have more money than sense.
Do they have good gates for the games? I mean, it's hard to tell because obviously the Hungary game was in front of a closed crowd. They only got the only people in there were free. They had to be free and they had to be children, and they could only be it was something like 30,000, 20,000 of them were kids, accompanied by 10,000 adults or something. So they had to show most. So they still booed the knee. They've taken the knee and stuff like that. When they've been banned for frigging racism was why they had to play in front of an empty stadium. It's like, oh God, you just think you're just not learning, are you? It's ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
Good God.
Yeah, I think it's a waste.
England are awful by all accounts, weren't they?
Yeah.
Well, we expect that.
Oh, they're terrible.
Don't we? Let's be honest. They've done well in the World Cup and the Euros in spite of Southgate, not because of him. And when he's come out, what he come out and said, did you hear what he said, Pete? What he said about it, about the defeat? He said it shows the dangers of trying to be too attacking. They're playing fucking Hungary. This isn't Hungary and Puskás and that. In fact, I'd be more worried if they were playing Puskás and that, because they'd probably still beat this current Hungary side. If they put together a team from the 50s, they'd probably still beat this current Hungary side because they're not a good side. They're not a great side or anything.
They've got only one or two good players.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But they were the better team. They were
And yet-
actually the better team.
And yet we hear Phil Foden is the greatest player since Messi, and he's going to be the best player in the world and stuff.
Oh, he's more talented than the likes of Messi, Iniesta.
Oh yeah, Foden's the greatest player of all time apparently now. They keep saying, so I keep reading. Like, most consistent as well as the latest one. Yeah, he's consistently brilliant. I was reading, I was thinking, oh, we're talking about the same Phil Foden. Because I've not seen any of this. I must be missing it, that's all. I must be just watching the games when he isn't consistently brilliant.
I think he's a talented player, actually. I really do.
Talented, but I don't think he's consistently brilliant.
No, I don't think he's brilliant. I think he could be brilliant. He's only young yet, and he's got a lot of talent. A lot of talent, that lad. But the only thing is, he's another one of these knobhead footballers who goes out on the lash and causes murder. And, you know, there's been videos of him posted having fights in like dressing rooms at pop concerts and things like that. And he's just another one of these up and coming young brats. And he's got to get that right before he can be a good footballer.
The problem is his family.
Yeah.
You've seen his mother at the boxing. Went out and
I know, yeah. That's what I saw. It's like Rooney. His family around him were absolute, ne'er-do-wells. He's a good footballer.
Joey Barton, another one.
Yeah, you can
family.
take the kid out the city. You can't take the city out the kid, can you? You know what I mean? He's been an absolute mess, hasn't he?
Yeah, I can't see it getting any better, especially when they put him together with Grealish. I mean, for all the people to buy, when your lad's starting to get in a bit of trouble, hanging around with Mason Greenwood, you're thinking, oh my God, you need to let's get him a good influence in. I tell you who we'll buy Jack Grealish. I mean,
he'll set him on the straight and narrow. Yeah.
All the things. You might as well have signed Jack Sparrow, for fuck's sake. There's another frigging nutcase, Johnny Depp. Him and Amber Heard, the pair of them are frigging lunatics, aren't they? But yeah. I forgot, I've lost track of what we were talking about that. I was just remembering the bit where she admitted shitting on Johnny Depp's pillow, and I was just thinking, thank God that wasn't my pillow. Don't know why that came into my head. I blame my mother because she keeps telling me about it. I haven't got a clue what was happening apart from what my mum was telling me. Hungary was shy anyway, but better than England. Well, let's just move on because we talk about the internet, how bad it is all the time, don't we?
Yeah.
So,
going on to Bayern Munich, aren't we?
Well, I was going to say, do you not want to talk about the Prem rules? Because they decided, like last season, there was a lot of teams gaming the system with the COVID postponement. Particularly Arsenal. Remember, they had one player tested positive, and they managed to get their game called off. Because they had half the team out injured, but they got they wanted it called off because obviously they had one illness, and that was enough of a reason apparently for them to get it called off. Whereas other teams were having to play with half their team out, like Leeds. They had half their team out injured, and they were being forced to play games. Whereas Arsenal was, getting it called off because they had 3 or 4 injuries because they had one with COVID. So now they've changed it, and you can't, you can't get a postponement so easily. Whether that's partly because of the game in the system, but I think as well it's with this season. I mean, they've only got 2 weeks longer season than normal, but 6 weeks of it's going to be a break while the World Cup's fitted in. So where are they going to fit in any postponed games, or what happens if there's a bad weather when they come back from the World Cup or whatever? Where are they going to fit the games?
Is that going back to this COVID thing with Ron Tobin Hoffman claims, Tris?
Yeah, we should go. We go on. While we're talking about COVID rules, yeah, we'll mention that. The Bayern Munich
right.
keeper. We'll just go. We'll talk about that quick now. Ron Thorben Hoffman was on loan at Sunderland last season. While we're on the subject of COVID, he says they made him play while he was still suffering with it. He'd had a positive test. Had a few weeks off. Went back in, was still feeling rough. But when he complained, he was really bad. He was wiped out afterwards. They put him back on. They put him back in and played him anyway. For the next 3 games, even though he was really ill, and he was saying, afterwards he couldn't, he was literally just passing out afterwards, and at home just sleeping non-stop and stuff like that, feeling really bad. They kept picking him anyway, and in the end, after 3 games of it, he just went straight off. He went off to Munich on his own bat. And to have medical tests, because someone wouldn't give him any tests on it, right? And,
that's a terrible indictment of Sunderland, though, isn't it? If they actually played players,
well,
I'm not saying other teams didn't, by the way.
Yeah.
Played players who obviously had COVID or at the effects of COVID. Playing them, it's just outboard, isn't it?
Well, what they're saying is they denied his claims. But they didn't outright deny. They basically said that they complied with all COVID regulations, etc. But they didn't say he wasn't suffering from it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's an odd one. I mean, he didn't play for them again as well afterwards. So, to be fair, I think that was more because they had another keeper in for him who did well, and so he just never got back in the side, right? Rather than anything else. But still, it's a bit like somebody should have. He's saying he felt let down and all that. Like, surely they should have realised there's something wrong with him and not picked him. They should have had him off for a medical test after the first one, surely.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of that went on during COVID, though.
Yeah, that's true. But no, not during it, because when it was because this last season when they loosened the rules here in England. Sorry, not here.
Yeah.
So I think it might be that just because they'd loosened the rules, they weren't doing the testing, so they weren't checking him, and that's why he could get away with it.
Yeah, very possibly. Yeah.
I mean, if he'd been in Germany, there would have been it wouldn't have been able to do that because they're still tight on it,
Right.
So, we'll move on to about Wenger wanting to trial kick-ins as a replacement for throw-ins. Does anyone think this is a good idea? Seamus?
I don't know. We'll have to see it to really get the grips of it.
Well, that was originally how it was done. And it was removed.
Maybe we should go back to the roots. Roots of the game.
1890 something, I think it was 1893, something like that. They decided they got rid of it. They had kick-ins, all throw-ins were allowed at one time, and they got rid of kick-ins. But I just think it lowers the possibilities to play it in from the sideline. At least with a throw-in, you can throw it over the man. With a kick-in, it's going to be on the ground, so it's much more difficult to lift it over someone than it is to throw it over someone. Know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
go on, Dips.
But surely, if you have players like Trent and Robertson taking the kick-ins, then it's like having corners and diagonal long passes all together.
Yeah, it
must be better.
It could well be brilliant for Liverpool having Trent Alexander-Arnold taking a kick-in from the sideline. You get him in his own half.
But where would that lead?
He would be the modern day. Oh, he would be jobless. Or he would have to convert himself into a kick-in coach.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. That's even thought.
Yeah, but he could be like with the supposed proposed changes, Trent could be the new Rory Delap. Specialist in kicking. It would just end, but seriously, it would end careers of guys like Roddy Delap.
Yeah.
I cannot, for the love of God, nor money, try to even generate a single image in my mind of Rory Delap with a ball at his feet. The only thing I can remember is the long throws, yeah.
They're messing about with the game too much for me.
But,
it's not broken.
Why try to fix something that ain't broken?
Absolutely.
Exactly. I don't see the problem with the throwing. He's saying it because it takes too long to do. And so he wants to have...
then just make the rules tighter. If you start booking players for wasting time, trying to...
Set a time limit. He said about a time limit as well. You know, have a kick-in with a time limit and make the game faster and more exciting. Well, why not just do a time limit on the throw-in? What's the difference? I don't understand it. I don't understand.
Yeah, let's say if you don't take a throw in within 5 seconds, then the opposition team gets the throw.
Exactly. Yeah, you got to hand the ball over. That's it. That's as simple as that. You get 5 seconds. If you haven't taken it, it goes to the other team. And what's the issue? I don't see the point in this messing about with it. I mean, maybe it would be brilliant, but I don't think so.
I came up with such an amazing idea just off the cuff, and to think those guys get paid to think of these rival shit.
Yeah. Good point.
He's even suggested it himself though, Wenger, pretty much, because he said about he wants to have it. He said it's the time, and he wants to have a time limit on them. Well, surely you'd just think, why don't I just put the time limit on the throw-in? Well, what's the issue? Why doesn't he just say that? I mean, it sometimes feels like he's just trying to be clever for the sake of being clever. You know, ideas.
Yeah, like Pep in big matches. Just trying to outsmart everybody, but ended up just outsmarting yourself.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it feels like.
They're messing about with the game.
He's just trying to change things for the sake of it.
That's what it feels like. I mean, I get the idea of wanting to speed it up. That's one of the things he's been brought in to make it more exciting and faster. So bring in time limits. There you go, problem solved, all sorted, we've done it. What's the issue? I mean, it's shot clock. You have a shot clock in basketball.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that? What's wrong with doing that in football? If you want to speed it up, not necessarily a shot clock. What I mean, a shot clock is in a time clock on the throw-in. It's simple. There we go. We've done it. We've solved football. So we can move on to the Bundesliga next and their 50+1 model of fan ownership. Is that the future of football? Or can clubs like that even prosper in modern footy with the likes of PSG and Man City, Real Madrid, Barcelona, having their state funding? Can teams like Bayern Munich continue to prosper in the future or not? The reason why I was mentioning it is because in Germany there's really strong feeling towards it. They really want to keep their 50+1 model. The other clubs, what happened this week? Teutonia Ottensen of the 4th tier, they drew their German Cup matches, and they drew a home tie against Red Bull Leipzig. In the German Cup, but their home stadium isn't big enough to host a game like that. You know what I mean? It's too small for it. So they, looking around to, the nearest biggest side is St. Pauli, German, St. Pauli. And they approached them and said, can we host the game, because we played a game in your stadium. They said, who are you playing? RBL? No, we won't allow them to play there. We have to play them twice in the league, but that's, when we play them in the league, that's it. Otherwise, we're not allowing them there because of their ownership, the way they're owned. We don't want anything to do with them. And, there was also, ahead of the cup final itself in May, RBL were to play Freiburg. Obviously, RBL ended up winning it, but ahead of the game, Freiburg refused to allow their logo and or their crest to be used in alongside RBLs in merchandising. And yes, Seamus, at St. Pauli, the left wing football club in Germany, they're very right on. But it's not just them; all of them are very anti-RBL. I mean, there's protests every time they face anybody else. They're really disliked, massively disliked. But I just like to is that not the way all clubs, all leagues should be going? Is along the lines of the Bundesliga? Because
I think 50+1 can be the future if every league, every team complies to that rule. It's only a handicap if a certain number of teams are the only ones following it. Let's say if Man United, Real Madrid, Barca, PSG, Liverpool, all the big spenders, they too have the same handicaps as, let's say, a Bayern Munich or a Dortmund, then it's a level playing field as well.
Well, to be fair, in Germany you've got teams like Wolfsburg who don't have to abide by it because of they were already owned by VW before it happened, and Bayer.
No, but they're
not dominating the game. You know, they're not dominating the game. So competing because they're in the
but teams like Wolfsburg was found by the company.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So they're a different, and they're allowed. But RBL is a different thing altogether. Basically, what they've done, for those who don't realise, is they have the 50+1. No, they have the 50+1. But what they've done is where it's supposed to be, the fan ownership. You know, the fans have more power than the other. That's why it's 50+1, because they have to have over 50%, so basically they have control of the club. What RBL have done to get round it is the fans, only Red Bull and people involved with Red Bull have got voting shares. People who aren't involved, the 50+1s that have gone to the fans, are non-voting shares, and so they've got no power.
Right.
So that's how they've got round it. So it's basically they've cheated round to get round the rules.
Do you think it'd work in British football, though, Chris?
Yeah, I think it would. I mean, I don't see any reason why not. As long as everyone's doing, like Seamus was saying, I think if everyone's involved in it, if everybody is owned by the fans, we wouldn't have had these problems with Derby, and Watford wouldn't have been in trouble. You wouldn't have had Lille in trouble, and Moose Crum wouldn't have gone to the wall. Bury wouldn't have gone to the wall. There's Stockport County, another one. They went to the wall because of the owners spending too much, and there's loads of them throughout history.
Yeah,
Well, it's going on. It's been going on. Leicester City, they've been rebuilt. Stoke City a second time around. Rangers, they ended up in the fourth tier in Scotland because of their financial difficulties. These things wouldn't have happened if their fans had been owners. You would hope, anyway.
Yeah. It just sounds great to me in theory.
Yeah.
In practice, it might be a bit harder to implement, as far as I'm concerned.
It might well be, but if everyone's got to do it, it certainly seems to work in Germany.
Yeah, but then again, you cannot say to the owner that you can't put your money into the club. There should be some middle ground, I would say.
Yeah,
possibly.
But you wouldn't have owners like you do now if it was 50+1, mate.
Yeah, but it's not like, just on paper it's not bad to have let's say an Elon Musk as your owner. I'm just throwing it just because he's rich, it doesn't mean he can't be owning a football club.
Right, yeah. That's what you're saying, Dix.
Yeah, I just wanted to see,
I don't know about 50+1, but I think there should be some say from the fans as well.
Yeah,
on a proper executive level.
Yeah.
They have to get more involved. They have to be. This is something that we've seen the problems at Man United, etc., and then all the clubs that got involved in the Super League against the wishes of the fans, and these kind of things couldn't have happened the club hands had better, had closer involvement in the clubs.
Yeah, he should have better representation. I
Mm.
just think it's quite hard to implement. But I hope that he can do something about that. But I'm still a bit sceptical over it.
Yeah. So Stephen Legge was saying I would even get a rule like that brought in, because the teams with the power would be the ones that say no, and that's right. It wouldn't. I mean, it wouldn't happen, but it's a shame.
Yeah, I can see why you're advocating it.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good way to make football a lot more exciting than it is now. Because there'll be a lot more clubs capable of competing. It'd level the playing field a lot.
Yeah, and Bayern, they comply to that rule, and they are one of the stronger teams. They have been one of the stronger teams on field and even in the transfer market.
Exactly. Yeah, and they don't have any issues.
So it doesn't just mean that you can't be very good.
Exactly.
I would think if you're a Manchester United, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
because the club is self-sufficient by itself.
Yeah, and Liverpool, Arsenal, teams like that, it'd still be fine.
Yeah, you'd still get huge turnover of fans every week and millions and millions all around the world.
Yeah, you still have
contributing to the club in one way or another.
Merchandise, you'd still sell merchandise galore. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, and the TV deals should still be the same.
Exactly. The only difference.
So it's not completely the opposite way. It's just a different way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It should be just safeguarding the club's future, because the fans obviously are the club. They should have more involvement, in my opinion. Anyway, I don't think there's much more we can say on that, so we'll move on. Should we just quickly I think we've quickly got to touch on this. The Cristiano Ronaldo rape case, it's been closed now. But not because he was found innocent. This is the interesting bit about it. It was because of the evidence the prosecution lawyer had used. It was leaked and stolen documentation that he was using to prosecute the case. Which was what uncovered in the first place, and why the case came to be. It's because of leaked documentation in the first place, which revealed about Ronaldo paying off Catherine Mayorga. Paid her £300,000 in hush money. But that's now inadmissible in court, so the case has been thrown out, basically, because you can't admit any of the evidence, because it's all leaked and stolen. It's a bit like why Man City got away with with their cheat, when they were being chased for their, for their way to get them around FFP and that, and they couldn't use the evidence that was provided because it was from stolen documentation, leaked from the hack.
It's all loopholes in it. It's loopholes in the law for everything like that. FFP, rape cases, there's just loopholes in the law for people to get round to be being, accountable for what their actions. I think it's totally wrong.
You do wonder why the lawyer's done that. And the lawyer must have known that the evidence would be inadmissible. It's a very odd thing to do, to use just...
Sometimes it's tactical, though, isn't it? It really is tactical. Yeah, it's, people get paid off to get money for disclosing things or not disclosing things. And it's corrupt as anything, the justice system in every country.
But it's a bit harsh on all sides, because she's got no closure, because she's got no case. And he's left now with it hanging over his head, where he might have been found innocent, might be innocent, but it's always going to be held over his head now that it wasn't found innocent. It was just because the case was built on stolen evidence. He's not actually able to clear his name, so neither side has gained anything. It just seems a bit of an odd way to deal with things. I get why they do it. They don't want people to be stealing documents and stuff to use in court, but it does seem odd. I mean, it wasn't like this documentation was stolen for use in court. It was a lot of it. It was the hack that that the Portuguese fella that stole wherever he was. That remember he hacked in and got all the transfer stuff and all that. Remember?
No, I don't remember that.
Oh, it was all released. They had a site, wiki, whatever it was.
Der Spiegel.
That's right. Yeah, I remember it now.
It went
WikiLeaks.
to
Yeah, I remember the WikiLeaks now. Sorry, I do. Yeah.
Yeah, it all went through there. They had, he had loads of stuff he was putting out on transfers and that, wasn't it? And players' wages and all kinds of things. That's how we know a lot of the wages that players are on and stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's not going to be resolved, that is it? It's going to be another Prince Andrew's case. It's going to just be, someone's paid money. It's over now as far as they're concerned. And as you say, he can't clear his name. But if he's guilty, it's worth it to him, We'll never know. We'll never know, will we?
Yeah, it just seems a bit... I just don't like that kind of thing.
No, I don't
know. You want to know one way or the other, don't you, really? But
of course you do, yeah, but you're never going to get to know just.
So,
money talks.
Well, we'll just move on. Let's do Steve Clarke. What do you think of him? Has he any future as Scotland manager? Because they were dire against the Republic of Ireland, weren't they?
I don't think...
I thought Seamus might have something to say about this with the Irish Nepalese. That's why I put this one in. I thought you might want to talk about. How his adopted nation battered Scotland. And
the only thing I know about Irish is top of the morning. That's
I thought you were gonna rave about the Nathan Collins individual excellence and all that,
No, but
if you're gonna adopt,
from what I know, Ireland has been
do
struggling
it properly.
Top of the morning. Come on, come on.
Oh God, where's Basil when you need him?
Getting back to Steve Clarke, I don't think any current manager in Scotland or anywhere else is going to do the Scottish team any good. It has to be a foreigner come in and sort them out. You've got no great coaches in Scotland, unfortunately. I wish they did have, but they haven't. And they're always going to struggle. They're always going to struggle. Because there's only 2 teams in the league who can possibly win. And it's such a weak league that,
I think,
they're not going to do great internationally because the league isn't strong enough.
I think they need a savior. They need a messiah.
And who's that going to be?
Or Ole?
David Moyes.
Oh, yes, of course, yeah.
Scottish as well.
Now, he could be one. That's a good... I tell you what, Deeps, you're on fire today. That's a great shout, by the way.
No, but I don't think that's realistic. That's the sad part.
Not at this time. Not now. If he
even
at West Ham.
Even for him, even for Moyes, Scotland is a big step down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is, yeah. Yeah, you're on a hiding to nothing, can't you? Because they haven't got the players, they haven't got the coaches, they haven't got
They
the
only
crowd.
have they only have great left backs, and that's about it.
I hear they've got a great right back now as well.
Yeah.
No, but
In fact, they've got a
but
couple
he's
of
only
them, haven't
20.
they, Bill?
Yeah, Patterson's cracking fullback.
Yeah, well, I was thinking of Ramsey personally, but
All right.
Yeah, I know.
Now he's signed for
I
Liverpool.
know.
Great player. Not that I've ever seen him play, but great player.
And they've got one of the 30 top left fullbacks, haven't they? And Andy Robertson. He's one
Oh, I
of
thought you were going to
top
say
30.
Tierney then. Obviously, Andy Robertson didn't make your... I didn't think Andy Robertson made your top 30 yet.
No, he gets in the top 30 just.
Yeah. I thought that
Oh,
was
he
the
gets in the top 30
the
because
Premiership.
Digne. No, it's because Digne left Everton, so he's
Yeah.
He's dropped down now. He's no good now.
Yeah, Digne's dropped down. Yeah, but they also have Aaron Hickey for left back. like three
Oh yeah,
three
they got
good
Hickey as well.
good players. Yeah, three good players.
Yeah, I've got a few good players, but not enough of them, I'm afraid, to make a team up.
To be honest,
Yeah, but I think their best player is McTominay.
No, you would say that. Yeah, he's hopeless.
I
Hopeless.
don't think he's that bad. I think he's hard done by.
Oh come on,
because he's
Chris!
played
I
for
used to
16.
no, I used to agree. I used to agree that he isn't that bad, but now come on, it's getting too much. I think he needs a new. I think he needs a move.
He might
Atkinson.
need to move, but whether I don't know, maybe Ten Hag can get the best out of him because I don't think he's that bad. I think his problem is he's been badly coached and used.
You
And
do
he's
know
playing
that he
along-
actually plays centre back for Scotland anyway,
Yeah.
so it doesn't matter. You
Well, he plays
you want
sweeper,
you
doesn't
want
he?
to try him further forward, but he plays for the back for them.
That's ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, it makes no sense.
Yeah, but
Steve
that
Clarke
is what happens when you're
Steve Clarke
6'4".
makes Steve Clarke makes Southgate look like an attack-minded coach, though, doesn't he? So this is the problem they've got
I
in
think Clark
Scotland,
just
though.
took one look at him. I think Clark took one look at McTominay, saw the lad 6'4", built as an ox, and thought he's a centre back, and never
Yeah,
actually
probably.
checked.
Probably.
Yeah.
But the thing
He
is,
has a
Steve Clarke he's very defensive. He worked at Liverpool for a while and it's horrible. He just wanted to, all he's interested in is defending. And this is the problem they've got in Scotland is they've got two teams who win everything and the rest just go out there not to lose. And that's it. They don't have any, they don't have any ambition of challenging or playing good football or anything. They just go out there to just, to just shit kick their way to each time, and that's where they need to have other teams go out there and try and win things. I don't just mean like I don't just mean like I mean every game. They should be going out there to try and win it rather than just going out there not to lose. And it doesn't matter if you get beat by Celtic and Rangers if you're Aberdeen or Hibernian or Hearts, really, because everyone expects you to lose to them. So what have you got to lose by actually going out there and playing good football? And, like Graham Potter's doing at Brighton. If they had a manager like that in Scotland, I think he'd be a revelation.
I don't think they've got the quality of football, to be honest with you, Tris. I don't think they've got enough to pick from for a start. It's a very sparsely populated country, really. And they don't have the amounts of players that other countries have to pick from. And I think as a manager of your national side, he's on whoever takes it is on a hiding to nothing. I think they've got to get better coaching. They've got to get better youth systems set up. And I think they're on hiding to nothing until they sort of stuff out.
Yeah, they used to be they used to have a great youth system in Scotland, but it's fallen apart now. But I don't know. I mean, the SPFL and the SFL, SFA, they're an absolute joke of organisations, and they're the reason why they'll never go anywhere and they'll never be better because they're not interested in.
You get the odd really good player, the Kenny Dalglish and players like that, Alan Hansen, proper footballers, but there's not enough of them to make up a team, and the others who are just making up the numbers won't contribute enough to make them a force in real football at all. It's a shame, but I'm afraid that's the top and bottom of it.
I think that's all.
By the way, while we're on topic of discussing the home nations, do you think there should actually be a single United Kingdom football team, or it should be different like it is right now? Or is it too political to discuss?
You can't have any single UK team, no. The Scottish hate the English, the Welsh hate the English, the Irish hate the English.
And I guess even the English hate the English.
Yeah, there's only really, so you'd end up, and I mean, it's not real funny, but like, how many of the other players would get in a team?
Yeah, but then you would have a very good team. You can have 10 players from England and one left back from Scotland. That would be a good team.
Yeah, what happens if Scotland get independent? Like they're trying.
Oh, then they can just loan one left back to UK and have others for the Scotland team.
I just don't think it's weird. They don't want to be part of it.
I don't
No,
think
but-
anyone would want that, to be honest with you. Any of the four nations would want that, to be honest.
No, I don't think anybody's interested in that idea, Deep.
Yeah,
I mean,
but as an
everyone
outsider, I thought I
FIFA and
could
UEFA
stir
would
the
like
pot
it.
a little.
FIFA and UEFA want it to happen, but nobody else, I think. But anyway, should we move on? We'll move on to who scored Team of the Year. They've done it purely on statistical basis. So, I just thought it might be interesting to see if we disagree with any of the choices. That's all.
Right.
So, we'll start off with the goalkeeper. I'm not sure how to pronounce his surname. So
Maignan.
It is Maignan. Oh,
Mike
no.
Maignan.
I would have said Maignan, but I was so close. Yeah, he was bought by Milan to replace Donnarumma last summer from Lille. So he's won League One and then Serie A consecutive seasons. Can't really complain at that choice, really. I know I'd still say Alisson's the best in the world, but I mean, you can't argue with him as a choice, can you, really? Or would you say somebody
Yeah, but
else?
you're going with his stats, so surely maybe they had more clean sheets and stuff like that, or maybe he made more saves than expected goals against him. So
Oh, God. See, I just think that's a terrible way to judge players. On its own, just on its own, doesn't work.
no, but it's not about who is the best keeper. It's about who performed the best in their position,
Yeah.
and sometimes it can be different.
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It's like who's the best manager isn't necessarily the one whose team's won everything.
Yeah.
It's the one who's performed best with what they have. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes having a reputation of being the best or one of the best 2-3 players in a position comes with a handicap as well.
Mm.
You get judged with that kind of parameter.
Yeah, true.
I'm fine with the choice. I'm fine
Yeah.
with the choice.
I think he can't really argue with a player who's won those competitions in consecutive seasons, really.
Yeah.
Right
Do you
back.
think he should before we move on? Do you think he should replace Hugo Lloris as the first choice for France?
Yes.
First
Well,
Absolutely,
it should
he
have
should,
been
yeah.
years ago, because Lloris has been crap for years.
I think so as well, Chris. I've always said that about it.
I'm not a fan of. Lloris was good when they first got him, but he hasn't looked right for a long time.
Yeah, he's
I
gotta
think
go.
Lloris showed signs of decline even in the last World Cup.
Yes,
When
it was
yeah.
that's when he looked gone. He looked finished for a long time.
Yeah.
So anyways, to right back, it's none other than Trent
Well,
Alexander-Arnold.
It could only really be Trent, couldn't it? I mean, he's got 12 assists in the
It
Premier League.
could
alone.
or couldn't, but the only other player that could rival him also makes the team, so
Yeah.
no point discussing it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
but-
There is no argument. There is no. I mean, Kyle Walker.
But can I just say that Trent is actually at the moment the 5th choice right back for England.
No, it just says it all.
Why
Who
do
are the
you-
four- who are the
Do
other
you
four guys?
agree with that one? But who's the others?
Yeah,
Kyle
The others
Walker,
are the lad from
Walker.
Chelsea,
Trippier,
Walker.
Yeah,
Reece
Reece
James,
Trippier,
who's the fourth
yeah.
guy?
Reece
Kyle
James,
Walker, Reece James, Trippier.
Trippier.
and
I think he
there's
might
another
be fourth.
No,
I think he might be fourth.
no, he was 5th. Definitely,
Yeah,
there was
definitely
four
There was a fourth one. If Billy's
Yeah,
right on that.
fourth one.
Oh, James Justin. It's James Justin.
Yeah.
I remember it now.
Yeah, and that's how good your England manager is.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyways, he got 12 assists.
Yeah.
That's just in the Prem. They do, that's not count with how many goals.
Yeah, in the
Walker
league.
has.
Yeah. By the way, it's not the whole season, just in the league.
Yeah, I mean that's incredible for a.
Oh, he's a brilliant player to watch as well. Like so
Fantastic.
pleasing on the eye.
Yeah, he's
I-
better go
I
forward
hate
for
saying
his
it.
defense.
Yeah, I hate saying it as a Man United supporter, but he's a joy to watch.
And he
Very
can
talented
defend,
lad.
no matter how many times I read people saying he's crap defensively. He's not. He's a very good defender, and he's getting
And
better.
I
No,
think
but
he's-
but
The amount
but
of
I-
times
I
will
he's been
let
there
you-
to cover the centre backs last season is incredible, and yet he's still getting pelted, and you're thinking, hang on. The only thing people are moaning about is that people are getting in behind him. Yeah, but that's because of the way he's fucking playing. That's how we play, not because Trent can't defend. It's because he's upfield, because he's part of the attack. That's not him defending badly.
And yeah, I love that. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that he shouldn't be in the side. I'm just saying that I think myself personally, everyone has a personal opinion, and he's a bit limited defensively. But his attacking play is second to none, so he'd be in for me just because of his attacking play.
When last season he got back on the line to make goal line clearances. He was covering behind the centre backs. He was at times he was the best defender on the pitch. So I don't.
He got roasted a few times. I've seen him get roasted a few times as
All
well.
fullbacks get roasted.
Everyone does.
I've seen Dennis Irwin get roasted at times, and he's probably the best defensive fullback I've ever seen.
Who is that, Trish?
Dennis Irwin.
Yeah, he's a good player. Yeah.
He was absolutely
before my time, sadly.
Oh, you missed
Yeah.
out, mate. He was a
Great player,
fabulous
Dennis Irwin.
right back and an even better left back, even though he was right-footed. Incredible player.
Yeah,
And a
good player.
brilliant free kick taker, I'm told.
Yeah,
and
good
a
free
penalty,
kick
he was
taker.
a penalty taker as well.
Yeah, you missed out there, Deeps.
Yeah, one hell of a player. I gotta admit, I hated watching him, but he was brilliant.
Yeah, very good player.
Anyway, so next one, centre back is Nico Schlotterbeck. If you haven't heard of him,
Oh,
he's at Freiburg.
yeah, I've heard of him. I've watched him play a few, maybe one or two games and some highlights. He is so freaking attacking.
I haven't seen him. I've
He's
never
not
seen
really-
the guy.
He's not really a defender,
Maybe
he's a
he's-
bike player centre back.
No, he's a centre back who you will very often see him in the final third of the field, and it wouldn't be because of a set piece situation. It's just how either Freiburg play or he plays. I don't know which one it is, but
Yeah.
maybe it's a bit of both. But man, he is so freaking attacking for
But
a
that-
centre back.
That shows the...
How did he get in before Harry Maguire? That's what I want to know. He's an
Well,
attacking
obviously,
for
yeah,
that.
but he scored some great goals last season against Man United, admittedly, but he did score some great goals. But to me, that shows the problem with these stats, because Joel Matip is the other centre back, and he didn't get it for his defending. He's got in there because of his attacking runs forward. So, it's not about whether they can defend. The stats are weighted towards attacking players, and so, Matip's in there ahead of Van Dijk because he makes forward runs rather than Van Dijk who actually
Yes, statistically, Joel Matip had a better season than Van Dijk.
Joel Matip
That is what the
defender
stat
in
notes
Europe,
said.
according to stats.
Yeah, and he's not
Stats
even
can
the
lie,
best.
can't they? Stats can lie.
Oh, definitely, because defensively, he worries me. He gets caught ball watching so many times. When they're talking about people running in behind Trent Alexander-Arnold, that's not the problem. It's Joel Matip they get in behind constantly. He doesn't watch it. He runs forward to make a challenge when the space is behind him. He doesn't.
Yeah, Matip. Matip plays like a midfielder playing in centre.
Well, he is.
Yeah.
He's a defensive midfielder who's compared to the centre back, and he plays like one. And that's why I don't.
Yeah, I know.
I know.
I know who converted him to a centre back as well.
Yeah, Jurgen Klopp. After Ralph
No.
Rangnick did it. I know Ralph
Yeah, it was
Rangnick
Ralph
started
Rangnick.
it, but he was still
Rangnick.
a defensive midfielder when he joined Liverpool, and he's never played there since. I'm not keen on him, to be honest. I don't think he's... Well, I mean, it's not that he's the worst defender in the world. He's decent at it, but he's just not as good as Van Dijk, and I think it just shows that him and Schlotterbeck are two attacking in there because of their attack rather than their defending.
Yeah, Matip ain't no Van Dijk, but he isn't a Maguire either.
No, he's definitely not a
He's
Maguire.
somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, he's not a bad player. Like, he's certainly not the worst, but he's just not Van Dijk, is he? And it seems harsh to leave Van Dijk out.
Yeah, and left back we have another right back.
Yeah. Yeah, the only one who's got any argument about being better, being equal to Trent is Joe Cancelo.
Yeah, mind you, he's not a bad left back either.
Oh, brilliant. Made the most passes
Joe
of any player in the
Cancelo.
Premier League.
Yeah, I like Cancelo.
We should
Oh,
probably
probably
name him as well because people may not know who we're talking about.
Sorry, I thought we did say Joe Cancelo.
Yeah.
What a player, that kid is.
Brilliant, brilliant player.
Yeah, lovely player.
Oh, I love watching him play. I think he's the key. He was the key thing for City last season, in my opinion. I know people will say De Bruyne, but like for most of the season, he wasn't playing that well, De Bruyne.
Yeah, but it's like I said before, De Bruyne is the best player at Man City,
No,
but
definitely.
Joao Cancelo was the best player for Man City last season.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, I agree with that.
Kevin De Bruyne had a great finish to the season, so everyone remembers him as being brilliant again. But he started off poorly. He wasn't playing well at all for most of the season. For a large chunk of the season, he wasn't that good. So I just think people forget that. Bernardo Silva was the key attacking player for them for most of the early period. I've got to say, I'm a bit surprised he didn't make this team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had a good season.
Yeah, right midfield, they've got Lionel Messi. Apparently he had a disaster.
Who is he? Who is he? Never heard of him.
No, mate. But apparently he had a disaster of a season in France with PSG. Only got 6 goals and 14 assists in 24 starts. Third most assists in Europe's top 5 leagues. But yeah, apparently it was a bit of a disaster, so I don't know how we got in here. Maybe it's standards he's set or something, I don't know. I didn't really watch him, to be honest, playing for them, so I can't really say much. Was he as bad as he said?
but he wouldn't make. But how does he make the right side of a midfielder, wing, or whatever we want to call it, ahead of Mo Salah?
Because he's Lionel Messi. That's
Yeah.
why.
Like Salah had almost the same number of assists, maybe even more, and he had tons more goals.
Exactly. This is what I don't understand either. The whole thing, it just seems like, well, we'll just shoehorn Lionel Messi in. I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
You look at the central midfield, the next man on there, Christopher
Oh,
Nkunku. He's not a central midfielder. How is he in
He
the
played
central
more like a
midfield?
centre forward. Most
yeah.
of the season he spent as a centre forward.
Or he's either a centre forward or a wide man. He's certainly not a central midfielder, is he?
He's a forward.
Instead of attacking midfielder.
He's not a
Maybe.
He's not a midfielder. He's a
No.
forward.
No, I would say so as well, definitely. I mean, he was the one I wanted as the to replace Firmino as the centre forward at Liverpool. He's definitely not a
Not
midfielder.
Nunez. Yeah, 8001 doesn't like Nunez. Yeah, just quote
Harsh, I don't know enough about him to have an opinion, as I keep saying on the site when people keep asking me about him, and I can't give an opinion because I just haven't seen enough of him. But
Can I just say, while we're on the subject, you could get Rondon to replace Firmino if he was in the side.
That would be an upgrade.
You're dead right, it would be deep. You're dead right.
He played really well at the end of the season for Firmino when he came back from injury. I think
so.
I think he's alright.
I
But
never
I
saw
just
him
think-
play last season. I'm being very genuine. I never saw him play last season.
He was good in the
You
running.
didn't miss much. You
He
didn't
was
miss
good
much,
in the
honestly.
running, mate. He started off well, and then he got injured, and then he come back, and he was playing well again. But obviously the season ended before he really got going.
I think he's a fraud. He's a
But in
fraud
that-
for me.
in
But
that-
there you
So
go.
Billy,
He's been fabulous.
the Liverpool supporters can try and defend him as much as they want and call us idiots as much as they want, but even their manager was ready to spend 100 million to replace him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but having to spend 100 million to replace him, that just says that he's that good. You need to spend 100 million to replace him when he hits his 30s. Surely that says something. But anyway,
Yeah.
I was going to say...
But come on, Chris. Come on, Chris. Having to chase after players that Man United were scouting. Man United was really, that's
that is
not
a
a good
worry.
look.
No, that is a
That
worry.
is a worrisome. Yeah, that is a
very
worrisome look.
worrying. I agree on that one.
Right, where do we go
There is-
from here? Centre midfield, Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah, Premier League Player of the Year, Kevin De Bruyne.
He has to be in there, really. And
No,
I like the
I
other,
was going to say the other
choices
one,
as well.
Nkunku. I wouldn't have him in there. I would have thought Bernardo Silva deserved the spot. He plays
Yeah,
in, like,
possibly,
central
Chris. Yeah, I
midfield.
wouldn't argue with you there. I wouldn't
I
argue with
was
you.
thinking I can't
Oh, but-
understand
but
how
I
he's
would
not-
have-
He's certainly more of a central midfielder than Nkunku, isn't he?
Yeah, I would have Luka Modric there.
Oh,
I would have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have had Milinkovic Savic there. Just going by the stats, like one of the best players, statistically at least.
Yeah, I can see that.
Got
Surely
tons of
there's a lot of them, isn't there?
Yeah. I think Nkunku was a bad choice. But I like De Bruyne in there, central midfield as well. And Kylian Mbappe, 28 goals, 17 assists. Got to be in, hasn't he?
Yeah, well, you can't argue with that one, can you? Even if Florentino Perez doesn't think he's that good.
Doesn't rate
really.
him, yeah.
Yeah, he's not that good, really. Not because we didn't decide him, because he just wasn't that
He is
good,
different now.
Yeah,
he
he's not
basically
good
said
now.
he.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
the
different.
Mbappe of 3 months and now is different.
He's different now. Now he's turned out now, he's different. He's not as good now. He's just not, is he? No, definitely not.
Oh, the only other player you could make a case for in that position would be Heung-min Son.
Yeah, yeah.
Kind
Yeah,
of,
yeah.
sort of.
Yeah, that's
Otherwise,
Son
like,
possibly be the only one. I would, yeah, you could actually, but no, you can't argue with Kylian Mbappe there. Definitely.
and then
No.
the two strikers can't be argued much about.
No,
either.
no. They've got to be in.
Yeah.
I'll have Lewandowski and Benzema.
Lewandowski, Benzema.
Yeah,
there's
not
no
argue with
argument
that,
there,
are
is
we?
there?
No.
The argument is, why is Lionel Messi on the right midfield and Christopher Nkunku
Yeah.
in central midfield? I think that's really, and the two centre backs, it's arguable about either of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, other than that, I can't really see being that much of an argument with the rest of them. I mean, you can make a case for some other players, but it's not really, you wouldn't really
Yeah.
think it would.
How about your League One flop of the year, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, it was obvious it would happen, to be honest. I said that the thing I'm surprised at is that they actually noticed he was there, because he was a ghost at Anfield, till he went out. So now he's the flop
Oh, but-
signing of the year in League One. I mean, what do they expect? They overpaid
Yeah, but
for him.
yeah, but some folks still want him back
Oh, don't.
at Liverpool. Why?
I don't get it.
Yeah,
He's
on the
never
side,
good.
they've been asking for him back.
He played one good game virtually, and I mean, more than that. I'm exaggerating slightly. He did play a couple of good games, but that's it. Most of the time, he just went missing. He was just hide and seek champion. That's what he was. He was. I hated him. Really did. I hated watching him because he just didn't do anything. He put half effort in every game, and it's really frustrating because he has so much ability, but he just can't be arsed.
Yeah, I love that, yeah.
That's more frustrating than anything. It's for me, players like that just don't bother to put in the effort when they need to, and they let you down time and time again. I remember people were saying about him, but Klopp picks him every week. At the time, he had 3 fit midfielders, and he plays 3 in midfield. So of course he's going to play every week because he's the only fucking choice he had. It wasn't like he didn't have a choice of anybody else to play there. That's why he was playing, not because he rated him. He tried to replace
He had some
him.
good games, but too many average ones.
He had like 2 or 3 in his entire time at Liverpool. That was all. The only time he ever did do well really was at the Barcelona game when he'd been dropped and he was in a strut because he'd been dropped. And if that's what you need to motivate you, then you don't deserve to play your place. I mean, in that case, if you can't be bothered to get up for it, you only turn up when you get dropped.
Yeah.
You should be dropped for good. That's it.
How about Bissouma to Spurs, Chris?
Yeah. Oh, I think quite the opposite with that one. That won't be the flop. I think that could well be the signing of the summer. That one.
Do you think so? Right. I think he's a very, very talented young man, but he comes with too much baggage for me.
Yeah, that's the issue. Big time.
And I think that's an issue with Liverpool. I think that's why Liverpool didn't go for him.
Yeah.
I think that's why a couple of bigger teams didn't go for him, because he's got too much history and too much hanging over him. And as talented as he is, you can't have people like that in your side.
From what I've been told, is Liverpool spoke to him, to have discussions about signing him and had a chat with him, because obviously Klopp likes to know the players personally.
Yeah.
But apparently he came across as having a really big time Charlie attitude, and that was that was why no move accrued. This was long before any problems appeared. Like,
I think he comes with too much baggage. I know they're saying he's going to be a great signing for Spurs, and he could turn out to be, because his footballing credentials, they're unquestionable for me. But it's got to be the man as well. He's got to have discipline. He's got to be basically, someone's a bit more staid than that for a bigger club to come in for him.
I think Conte, he'll be fine with the Conte. The issue is when Conte leaves. Then go back to, he'll go out, he'll have freedom, and going from having under tight discipline to them giving freedom. That's when people like him start getting themselves into trouble, because they go out and live it up. A bit like squad. When they get a break from the military, they go out and they get into trouble. Not because they're bad lads, but because they've been under such hard discipline. At the moment, it's relaxed. They just want to go and let off steam, don't they? Yeah,
but there's ways of letting off steam, isn't it? And what he's in line for isn't right, is it?
We don't know.
No, we don't. That's what I'm saying. What he's in line for, rather than what he's done, because it hasn't been proved yet. But there's obviously something there that's putting off the bigger clubs.
Like I said, he's been so apparently he's a big time Charlie attitude. He's a bit of a he didn't impress teams that spoke to him. There's quite a few of them, but Conte wanted him. He fought for him. He desperately wanted to sign him, and that's Conte knows what he's doing.
I can see why. He's talented.
I can't see why, because he's now 30.
Yeah,
Conte only does 30-year-olds. That's unusual.
Maybe he thinks he's faked his passport or something. Maybe. I mean, it's unusual actually. You've got a good point there. He does like the older players, doesn't he? I just think Spurs desperately needed a midfielder of quality. They haven't got one.
I think Bissouma the player is a very good signing. I don't know Bissouma the package. I don't know about that.
But not only about the links.
Even before like moving to Spurs, he started deleting all posts and every other ties related to Brighton. So it's not a good look.
No, you're right, Deeks, it isn't.
From the outside looking in, it just looks very ungrateful and ungracious of him.
There's no need to delete posts related to him, is there? I don't get it.
It's not like he was hard done by Brighton either.
No, quite the opposite. They stood by him when they didn't have to. If it wasn't for them, where would he be?
He would be at Lille.
Yeah, he would,
I mean, another club might have come in for him, but I can't imagine he'd be at Spurs now. He'd be still at probably be working. He don't pay well, he won't be earning much. I'm sure he's earning a lot more now at Spurs. But yeah, you never know.
Right, should we move on to Seville's Koundé?
Yeah, well, this is just something I was thinking about. Like, because Koundé's had to undergo surgery. He's got a pubis problem, and he's had this for months. He's been carrying it most of the end of the season. Like, and he's finally gone for surgery after the Nations League games. How we could talk about him going to Chelsea and that. Chelsea are after him and all that, as we know, and there's other clubs interested in him. But my point is, I just wanted to. This is a problem Sevilla have. Sevilla, as they pronounce it there. They ask their players, and this has been something they've done as far back as I can remember. They ask their players to play through injury constantly. And I mean, this season alone, they had Fernando how is it pronounced, please? Oh, you're the expert on pronunciation. Is it Regis?
Fernando Regis.
Regis. I couldn't remember whether it's J input, because obviously he pronounced Portuguese pronunciation, because he's Brazilian. They asked him to put off ankle surgery for, literally months, and it was until it got so bad that he could barely walk even, and he had to go and have surgery before he had his ankle surgery. This is like about March time, something like that, and he played almost the entire season on it. So for me, my question is, knowing Chelsea are after Koundé, would you want to even go looking at a Sevilla player when you know that they might have played on for months on end with a bad injury that could have done damage physically to the player?
Long term, yeah.
Yeah. You are the pronunciation expert, Seamus, so we've always been in trouble. Don't worry about that. He just said that. Yeah, anyway, so would you want to look at a Sevilla player when you don't know what damage has been done to their bodies over years? Yes, I didn't get the gag about detail, so I left out the detail, mate. Because it was such a bad joke, I just left that out. Anyway, yeah. So, where was I? Yeah. I'd be looking at Koundé and thinking, do I really want to sign him? I mean, I'd want to have it. I'd want a really close medical check if I was looking at a player from Sevilla.
But that is why you look for some medical test before a transfer, to look at their physical condition.
Yeah, but I mean,
underlying issues and things like that, isn't it?
Yeah, but can you really see these kind of, this kind of long-term damage that can be done? You can't really see a lot of it, wear and tear, stuff like that, until it actually gets bad, until it happens, if you see what I mean. A lot of the time, you don't often know, unless they've got a degenerative condition you know about. It's rare that you can see the damage that's done until it actually gets so bad it causes an injury.
But surely that's going to come in the medical, isn't it? When he has a medical, surely that's going to be.
What I'm saying, how would you see it?
You must look into that.
Records, but the records wouldn't mention that he's had, wouldn't mention that he'd been playing on it for 6 months. They'd just say he had a surgery to cure an injury. And show you, it'd give you the scans and stuff like that, but it wouldn't show you that, like, he'd been running on it for 6 months, so it might have caused lasting damage to ligaments and stuff. Because obviously, when you're carrying an injury, you don't run normally because your body automatically protects it from, protects you from the pain that's caused. So you run unnaturally, and that could cause other stresses and strains. Can cause
but you must say that if you're privy to that information, I'm sure that clubs like Chelsea or other suitors, high-profile suitors, would be privy to that information, that he has been playing for 6 months with a band. So they obviously got to take that into consideration, whether they either sign him or they're asking for a lower fee or guarantees on his fitness. That's what I'd think, anyway.
So what would you do, though? I'm just saying, like, if we were doing it, what would you do? I would say I'd be looking elsewhere. I wouldn't be touching.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I'd be saying now. I'm not going to take a risk because, like, if we're spending £20 million, say, for instance, even at this time, prices have dropped obviously. So £20 million, £30 million, a lot of money to spend when you can look elsewhere. There's players around there for that price. Perhaps look elsewhere. So I think if I was Chelsea, this is what I'm saying is, if I was Chelsea, I'd be saying maybe we should look elsewhere.
Yeah, I agree with that, Chris. I would agree with that.
I just don't see it as a, it's one of those things where I'd be, I'd be looking elsewhere rather than
Revenue now.
I mean, unless he's going to be cheap, then because I do rate him as a player. I think he's a brilliant player, and I think he'd be a great signing for them if he stays fit. But they've got to keep him fit, and this is a club that club that haven't got a massive. They need. What I'm trying to say is they need a defensive reinforcement desperately. They're going to have Thiago Silva as a central defender. He's not going to be able to play all the games. So what they need is somebody they can bring in who they can rely on to play regularly.
And Barcelona are trying to hijack the deal as well.
Yeah.
It's not like a foregone conclusion yet.
Yeah, maybe if I was Chelsea, I'd be saying, now we know he's been playing with his injury for a long period. Maybe we should look elsewhere. There must be better there must be another option around. Plenty of them.
And Sevilla are in trouble as well, having to replace both their starting centre backs. It's never a good situation to be in.
Yeah.
They sold one to Aston Villa, Diego Carlos, and now Jules Koundé is looking like he's going to leave as well.
You've got to wonder if Carlos as he's been playing through injury, is he going to have any issues in the future as well? Because he's at 27, he's not got, he's at his peak.
He's 29.
Is he 29? Jesus.
Yeah, he was 27 when you guys were linked with him.
Ah, was that it? I remember him being 27, that's probably why. Yeah. That's where it come from, is it? In my head, he's 27. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's so. I'd be worried myself. I like Koundé. I think he's a really good player, but
he's no Saliba, is he?
Well, exactly. Saliba's there. Arsenal are willing to sell him. I don't know. And you've got the other guy, the guy at Leicester, Fofana, as well as another option. Why not look at him?
He's been injured, Fofana.
Chris, do you have a large human-sized poster of William Saliba or something?
Yes. I know. I just think he's a brilliant defender. I've watched him. I think he's fantastic. He's been absolutely outstanding. Every time you watch him, he's brilliant, and you just think, what is Arteta not seeing? I don't understand it. I mean, I watched him alongside Fofana, and I thought Fofana was being carried by him. And when he went to Leicester, I think that proved it, because he wasn't as good without him. He just didn't look, when he's... And Saliba's gone back to France and been brilliant again. I just don't understand why he's not been the made the centrepiece of the Arsenal side. He's an Arsenal fan as well. It's a no-brainer for me.
Yeah.
Put him in the team and build around him. That's what I'd be doing. He's definitely their best centre-back. He's much better than Gabriel or White. There's no contest there or holding. I just don't understand it.
Right, we're going on to who the big clubs should buy now, the big European clubs.
Yeah. So
we'll start with Barca.
Yeah.
Deeps, what do you think?
Well, I think they still need one or two more players, even though, I know it's not confirmed, but it's almost done. They've already got Andres Christensen and Frank Kessie waiting in the wings just to be registered. I think.
Well.
Yeah, but Lewandowski is not as done as those other two moves.
No, because they can't.
I think.
Yeah, they can't. I think they need a long-term replacement for Jordi Alba, and they also need a centre back. So I think
And a right
centre back is even more pressing. So maybe they should.
Go for
Try and have
Saliba.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe try and have a Neville at Saliba or whoever else. Pau Torres, maybe. But I think I used that one last week, so I'm gonna say Saliba.
Michael Keane.
Oh, Harry Maguire. If we're just gonna throw in names, then it should be Harry Maguire.
But I mean, the other
They could
thing
even-
is, they've lost Danny Alves, so they need a right back as well. They've got no right back. That's why they needed Danny
Oh, but
Alves
they
in
have-
the first place.
But they have Serginho de Sergi Roberto, and they're trying to convince Cesar Azpilicueta as well. So.
Yeah,
I know,
that's
but I'm saying that
a question.
there's so many players they need. I'm just saying they need virtually an entire squad. I mean, they're still playing Busquets. Who's
I don't know about
Who moved like
I
a
don't know about
95
entire
-year-old.
squad. I don't know about entire squad, but they need a whole new backline, or
Yeah,
maybe
whole
three,
new back
three,
line.
four.
Goalkeeper, midfield, forwards. No, they've got Gavi and they've got Ansu Fati. if
Frankie.
he's fit.
And they've got Frankie De Jong as well, who's gonna be an
Wow.
80 million.
Well,
He
that
might drop,
possibly.
mightn't he?
Possibly, because he could be off to United anyway. So basically
Yeah.
they've got Gavi and Fati. That's it, basically. And Fati's not even sure. You're not even sure if he's going to be fit to play for next season.
Yeah, but
He's
they
only
also
just
have
recovering.
they also have a brilliant player they signed on a free, Aubameyang.
Yeah, he didn't cost much wages wise, did he?
Yeah, Aubameyang. Yeah, that's why they're trying to replace him already with Lewandowski because he's that great.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I think they need lots of players. So I can't
So,
decide.
so who are
to
we gonna
pick
go
them.
for this? Just we can only pick one.
I know, but I mean, for me, I think you've got to replace Busquets. He's shit. He's been awful. I don't understand why people rave about him. He moves like he was 95 years old when he was a kid, and he's got slower. He's an awful player. Most overrated player I can think of in years. He's just never rated.
Well, I can name you one guy who was much more overrated.
Go on.
Harry Maguire, 80 fucking million pounds.
Yeah, nobody rated him back from United enough to pay 80 million though, so I don't think that really counts as overrated, mate. But I get your point. Shit, then again, I think it would be...
So name a player. Who are you gonna pick for Barcelona? You're just stalling for more time.
That's because I'm changing my mind, because I'm thinking they desperately need a right back, and they desperately need a left back, and they desperately need centre backs, and they desperately need a midfield. Oh, these...
Christensen,
yeah, but-
I'll say.
What about...
How do you do
That's all
the job?
Do you know who they
Yes,
should
he does the
take
job.
seriously? Christian Eriksen.
All right, yeah, he's a shout.
Cheap. He's got points to prove, and he plays a style that would fit in at Barcelona and Spanish football. He doesn't need to chase around there. He's not the hardest worker in the world anyway. So, he doesn't need to be there. I think him. That's who I'm going to suggest
No.
for them. Cheap, and that's what they need. And that's where the issue.
I'm
comes
gonna
in.
change. I'm gonna change from Saliba. I think they should go for Aymeric Laporte in some sort of swap deal, player swap.
And he's Basque as
Like-
well. Catalan as well. No, he's Basque, isn't he? He is Basque.
He's Basque. He's Basque.
Yeah.
He's not Catalan.
Yeah, so that's not a... But
I
he
think
wants-
Aymeric Laporte.
But didn't he say he wanted to go to Barcelona?
Yeah, he wants to go to Barcelona.
Yeah, so... And he's a good player. But
He
can't
is
be
a good
Yeah,
player.
Can't be cheap though. He must be on a big wedge.
No, but they can do some sort of swap deal with Frankie De Jong or whoever else Man City
Yeah.
want. That is one deal, one convoluted, complicated deal that's been proposed in some way, shape or fashion, isn't it?
But then you've got to replace De Jong, haven't you? So
Exactly.
it's catch-22.
Yeah. What about
Yeah,
you,
but
Bill?
But to replace De Jong, they have Franck Kessié coming in
Yeah.
on a
Yeah,
free.
true.
Right, how about Madrid then?
Hell, you have a
Oh,
big
you're not
today.
gonna
Come
give
on,
us.
Bill.
Oh,
Get your
come
one
on.
in
Sorry.
there.
I got my one on Christiansen. I think he's going to be a good signing for them.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
but you can't have one that you've already
yeah, but that's
directly
already been
signed.
done.
Yeah, come on. You need to pick someone who they haven't signed who you think they should buy.
Come on, Billy.
Okay.
it's your moment. It's your moment to finally get
Yeah,
rid of
you can
Right, okay,
shine
then.
and show us
Shorthand.
your knowledge
yeah,
of
Mr.
football.
Shorthand.
Right, I'm going to have a
Don't say
little
Andy
think.
Robertson because obviously he's only in the
No,
top,
no.
just in the top 30, so it'll be no good for them.
So it's
Surely it's
Okay.
gonna be Jordan Pickford.
Oh,
Two stones with one bird. You get rid of him and
I'll
you
go
get
for
rid of him.
Bernardo Silva. I'll definitely go. Definitely should go. I think he'd fit in with them. That's my opinion.
yeah. I don't think they can afford him, but otherwise, yeah.
come on,
I agree with
Chris,
that.
we say this that they can't afford this player, that player, whatever, but they end up getting money from somewhere.
Well,
Yeah.
they've got the big Spotify deal coming in, but it's more the wages that are the issue. That's where they're struggling, because remember they're hamstrung by they've got a
Yeah, 75%
wage
is
cap.
the cap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where their issue lies, and that's why they're having problems. Anyway.
Yeah, but
once
like genuinely, once Frankie De Jong leaves and they get one or two players to sign on a reduced wage, then it should be
True.
dealt with. Because
They've already-
De Jong is said to be one of the highest owner, and that is one of the reasons why they
Yeah.
want him gone.
True. But they've already said they're not going to get the four captains, as they call them, to take a pay cut, which is Busquets,
PK,
PK. Oh, who's the other two? Oh, Sergio Roberto, who's just signed a new contract anyway, so. And the other one whose name completely escapes me, but you know who I mean.
is it Jordi Alba?
It might be. It's definitely a defensive player. Anyway, yeah, so they've already told them for experienced players that they won't have to take pay cuts. So they're kind of short of where they're going to get save money, which is why De Jong will have to go, I would have thought. But anyway, should we go on to Madrid now?
Right. Who should they sign?
Yeah, Billy, you want to go first this time?
Right.
Give me time to think.
Do you want a moment to think, Billy?
Yeah,
Free
go on.
time.
Go on, you
Okay,
take
well-
over this.
No, like
Well, I have a think.
before we suggest any names, we should factor in the informations we already have. They've agreed a deal for Antonio Rudiger.
Right.
And they've also finalized the deal for Aurelien Chouameni. So
And
they
tried
have a
good
centre back and
players,
midfielder. Yeah.
and they didn't
Right.
want Mbappe anyway.
Yeah, and Mbappe left them hanging on at the altar.
No, they didn't want Mbappe anyway. He's not good enough for them. And
Not very good player.
Haaland would have only got on the bench, so they didn't want him either. So.
I think the glaring hole in their attack is on the right side.
Yep.
Both right back and right winger, right-sided attacker.
Right, I think he should go in for Trent. He'd be
Oh, you wish. Oh, you wish.
Well, they can buy big, they've got the money.
Yeah, but the chances of him moving to Real Madrid, he's achieving his dreams at the moment at Liverpool. He's a Liverpool fan. I just think that's an unrealistic one. And we were trying to keep it realistic, weren't we?
But like with
All right.
but like with Mbappe, we can see that dreams can change.
Yeah,
good
absolutely,
point,
dreams
good
can
point,
change.
yeah. Because Mbappe was
Yeah,
a
wait,
Real
wait.
Madrid fan.
No, he is a Real Madrid fan.
No, he was, because
Come
obviously
on.
he's changed now, according to Perez.
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
changed
yeah.
now. Yeah, he's still,
Okay, I can
Yeah.
see that.
yeah,
He was a Real Madrid fan. Come on,
yeah,
not anymore.
obviously. 'Cause
So I think this. I agree with Billy. They should go for a right back, or maybe I think they should also go for a right winger. And just off the top of my head, I think it could be Serge Gnabry. Wants a move. is gonna be relatively cheap, and he's
Right.
versatile as well. So even if they get in someone else, he can still be part of the team.
I actually think that's a good shout. Yeah, I'm impressed with that.
Yeah,
That's a
good
good
shout,
choice.
Betis.
I think the best choice would actually be Mohamed Salah, but I don't think that's realistic for them.
Not now.
You
Not now.
don't
He
know.
said he'll stay. He's already said he'll stay next season with Mane leaving.
He said he will stay, and they've said like they've had their opportunity to try and get at him, but they've never actually gone for him. So.
Yeah, they've said they would stay all the time. So, yeah. Because Modric has signed another year, so he does look like he's coming to the end of his career. He's still
It'll be
got
his
another
last year yet, Modric.
Yeah, he's still got another season in him, I think. So I think central midfield. I mean, Kroos has never been mobile, so it doesn't matter if he was 85, he'd still be the same. It's like Jan Mulby. You know, he's got all the mobility of Jan Mulby. It doesn't matter if he's old, so he'll be all right. So yeah, Casemiro's already been replaced with Camavinga. They've got Tchouameni to come in and take the place of either Kroos or Modric when they need to. Anyway, so I think.
And they've also got Fede Valverde. They've also got
Hey,
Fede Valverde.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, so I'm not. So I think their midfield's okay for the season. Left side. Yeah.
Vinicius, Forlán Mendy.
Yeah, I think they're okay down the
Basically
left.
covered. Yeah, and they're
Goalkeeper,
Alaba.
Courtois okay. He'd do. He's not a world class, you know, he's not really the top class keeper everyone seems to think he is, but he's not the worst either. He's certainly good enough to win the league,
Well,
because there's no competition. So.
Yeah, he's good enough to win the La Liga and Champions League.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It should be
But,
fine.
you know, but I mean, when you got a team of 11, you can carry one who isn't world class a goalkeeper. Like you can, as long as he's good enough, you know what I mean. And he fits in the style of play, and he does. So yeah, they've got Lewandowski up, Benzema in up front.
Benzema.
They haven't got any cover for him, but we're looking at first team players. So yeah, the right side is definitely the weakness.
You're stalling for time.
I
please.
am.
Come on,
I
you
was
have
going
the
to say
name.
Gnabry, because that was who was in my head. So I'm going to think again. That's the only reason why I'm stalling, because that was literally what I was going to say, and now I'm trying to think of a different option other than Gnabry, because I don't want to say the same as you. And it doesn't look like Nkunku would leave.
He's not a right-sided player.
No,
So-
but he can play there.
He can play there, but it's different from being able to play there and being a right-sided
Yeah.
player.
Oh, I'm trying to think of it. I mean, there must be a good right back. There's four better than Trent Alexander-Arnold according to Southgate in the England squad. So, you know, you'd have to think they'd be able to find out. I mean, it's really difficult to think of someone other than. I mean, like I said, I was thinking Gnabry. Now I'm having to rethink. I wish I'd gone first now. Because I really want to say Gnabry, but I don't want to say him. You've said him.
Oh, there's Rafinha, there's Anthony from Ajax, there's even
but
Richarlison.
I don't know enough about Richarlison.
Yeah, Richarlison.
No, he's not good enough. Yeah. Just trying to think. Yeah, no, I'm really.
Not an out-and-out right-sided player, but one player that I would love to see at Real Madrid would be Heung-min Son.
Yeah, what about Lionel Messi? Apparently he was the best right midfielder in
Right
Europe.
winger,
So,
yeah.
yeah, couldn't who scored that Tom. So, they could have Jota if they wanted. I'd be quite happy with that. I'm just trying to look through for some. There are options now because they've got Rodrigo for right wing, no, haven't they? They got that young Brazilian. I've forgotten about him.
Yeah, Asensio has been their first choice right sighted attacker, and they are not entirely convinced by him. So
They missed out on Kulusevski really, and Asensio could play that really crap. I mean, Chiesa would be the one. I like
Yeah, but
him.
he just
but
moved to
you're not
Juventus.
Gonna, yeah, you're not going to get him. That's what I mean. He's just,
We're trying to be realistic. Otherwise, you could
Exactly.
just say Mbappe and move on.
Oh my God, this is so difficult. I don't see a good option. When they missed out on Elliot already. There really isn't many right wingers on offer, is there? There isn't any really outstanding ones. Maybe Noni Madueke in PSV.
How much of him have you seen?
Little bits and pieces, because I was watching stuff on him today, because he's been nominated for, he's one of the Golden Boy nominees. He's the other English one. There's 4 English players
Yeah.
up for it, and he's one of them. He looks pretty tasty, to be fair.
And he seems to have a good head on him as well.
Yeah,
He rejected a move to Man United in favor of PSV.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, what about him? Why not him?
Because he's not ready yet to be a first-team contributor for Real Madrid. You're talking about the champions of Europe. Come on, show them some respect. Need I remind you the result? Need I remind you the result from the final?
Why is that? Why does that mean they can't have a kid to develop on the wing? They did all right. Vinicius has done all right, and he was. That's how he started up. He'd certainly be an upgrade on. I forgot it. I can't know who it is again.
Just go for the Rafinha Trust and have it
Yeah,
done. with it.
Rodrigo. I'd say Madueke. I'm going to go with him. I think he's a good. I think he'd be the right option. I like what I've seen of him.
oh come on, you could have gone with Musa Diaby as well from Bayer Leverkusen.
But I've been impressed with what I saw of Madueke. That's all. I like that. He can play centre forward, so he can provide cover for Benzema when he's not fit. So he can cover an extra position that they need covering. Yeah, I'm sticking with him. Sorry. I think Gnabry's the right choice, though. Gotta say.
So Billy,
I'll give you mine.
Yeah, he said his first. I'm guessing about first.
Trent.
I thought you
oh
said
sorry, I
somebody
missed
else
it.
after
Sorry.
Trent. I thought you said somebody else after Trent. But yeah. Anyway, should we move on to Juve now?
Yeah. I'll go first here. It's going to be, let's see, Man United's overachieving midfielder.
Which one? Which one?
What
Paul
overachieving?
Pogba.
Paul Pogba.
He's already signed. He's already agreed. It's just.
Oh, has he agreed? I didn't know he'd agreed
Yeah,
to him.
he's been there. He's already out. So I think it's a 4-year
right.
contract. Just waiting for it. Just waiting for it to agree. It to be announced really.
All right, okay. So for Juve, who are they going to go for? I haven't got a clue. Go ahead, Deeps, you take over. Who do you think?
I think they need some sort of revamp in their midfield. Sorry, in their defense
Yeah.
and
that's right.
midfield. Midfield too, but in their defense because Chiellini is leaving,
Yeah.
Bonucci is getting on.
Time for
Yeah, Quadrado and Alexandro are also getting also almost a whole new defense. So in light of that, I think they should go, if they are to pursue with a wing back setup, then they should go for Filip Kostic from Frankfurt.
Because they've got, I mean, Matthias de Ligt has been getting a bit of a few pelters as well recently, hasn't he?
Yeah, so I'm hoping one of you is gonna suggest a centre back for them.
Well, I was thinking someone like, I was going to say centre back because they desperately need a centre back.
They need new blood.
I was thinking somebody like Pelter. I mean, Italian football's not the strongest.
They should actually go. They should actually also try and have a go at Alessandro Bastoni, but his agent has come out and said that he's not gonna move this season.
Yeah,
So
that's why I was
no
ruling
point.
him out because they're not going to sell him, and they certainly wouldn't sell him to you, would they?
yeah, like I read a stat on Bastoni that in 120 Serie A games he has made 0 mistakes leading to goal.
I really like him. He's a class act. I think he's a bit wasted there, to be honest. Yeah. Yeah, I'd say you're looking at Skriniar as well. He's an injured, so they're not going to sign him.
Maybe they should go for Joel Matip, the best centre back in Europe, according to
John
Bluesport.
Matip. Yeah, why not? He'd fit in perfectly there. In fact, that's a good shout, that.
How about Gomez? He could go there.
I don't see.
He's got no future at Liverpool.
Oh, he has.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't have any future.
Oh, he does.
I don't think so.
No, you want to believe it, but that he does. But if you open your eyes, then you can see. If he comes up to you, if Gomez comes up to you and asks you, should he be moving on in search of more game time, you will have to say yes.
I would have to say yes, but I wouldn't want it.
But that is.
I'd sell Joe Matip
That is the Liverpool supporter in you.
No, that's
that wants
Joe
him
Gomez,
there.
I think he's a very good player. I think he's been unlucky with injuries, mostly caused by England as well. And I think he deserves more time. I'd have him over Messi all day long. But I could see it if he's full choice. And we brought in Ramsey to cover the right back position. Yeah, I can see that. I think. Yeah, I'm going to have to say that then. Oh shit, mate, you've put that out there. I think that's got to be the option, hasn't it? Okay, Joe Gomez.
How about you, Deeps?
Move on, go in. Move on, mate.
Who for Juventus?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said Philip Kostic. If they are gonna.
Oh yeah, you did. Yes.
Yeah. If they're gonna play a 3 at the back system.
Right, so we'll pick one for there.
Oh, so you finished up here.
Yeah,
I finished
Billy
with
picked
you a
Gomez.
long time ago. What?
PSG.
Billy picked Gomez.
Yeah, I can pick Gomez. He can go there, upgrade for himself.
PSG next.
PSG, Richarlison, right in there.
Where would they play him?
Wishful thinking.
Who's he going to replace? Lionel Messi?
No, Neymar.
Kylian Mbappe. Well,
No.
Neymar's gone.
Neymar's going, and he's going in.
Well,
Nobody's
where would he play?
buying that piece of shit.
Where would he play?
He'd be the main diver. If
Neymar leaves.
Neymar leaves, he'll be the main diver then.
Just make
Yeah,
him
he'll be
up.
the replacement. Yeah, he'll be the replacement. He will be the replacement for the PSG diving team.
Absolutely, he would be, yeah.
I think he wouldn't get on the pitch for him, would he? I mean,
Yeah, he can dive around in the
On the bench.
in the side of the field while he's warming up.
I can't imagine where he's playing. I was just thinking, even if they get rid of Neymar, I can't imagine them needing him. It's their midfield and defence that's always the problem, isn't it? And they brought him who have they brought in this summer? Who have they brought in this summer? I can't remember now.
I don't think they've brought in anyone of note.
Alright, maybe I'm forgetting. I might be misremembering. I thought they brought in a midfielder. But they do need a defence and a midfield. Well, I mean, Kimpembe's alright, but Marquinhos is alright, I suppose, as well, but I'm not convinced by either, as in, like, you know. See, they should go for Saliba.
Well, in your world, every team should go for
Not every team. I don't think Liverpool could. I don't really see a need for Liverpool to buy him.
Oh, but come on, he must be better than Ibrahima Konate as well, if he's that good.
But the point is, you don't buy just because they're better. You buy to strengthen the position you need to strengthen. And we don't need to strengthen the centre-back position now. We've got 5 that are good enough to play in the Premier League, really. Including Nat Phillips. I like Nat Phillips. I know other people don't think he's that good, but I think he's a very good player. I think he's good enough to have as a 4th choice player. You know what I mean? To have as cover. And then you've got Joe Gomez, you've got Joel Matip, you've got Ibrahim Konate, and you've got Virgil van Dijk. I think that's good enough as a group of defenders. So we don't need to buy a centre back. We need a midfielder. So no, I don't think you'd buy. I wouldn't recommend buying Saliba, not because I don't think he's a good player, but because I just don't see the need for him at Liverpool. Whereas if it was Everton, I'd say straight away, yes, definitely you should buy him. No question. Arsenal, Man United, yes, should be playing for them. Any of them. But in City,
How about you,
City, I wouldn't say need him either. Because they've got Ruben Diaz and Laporte. Obviously, when Laporte goes...
Yeah, but Laporte is going, so...
Yeah, as said, when he goes, then maybe I'd say go move for him, yeah. But otherwise. So, anyway, who do you say for PSG?
Who do you say for PSG? Saliba?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think they need a midfielder.
Yeah, I agree on that.
I think missing out on Tchouaméni wasn't great for them, because he would have been a very good choice for them. I think maybe they should go for someone like Songare from PSV.
Good shout. Yeah, no, I love that.
No, I think they should go for Ndidi. I think they should go for Ndidi.
Wilfred Ndidi, yeah, he'd be a great signing for them.
Yeah. And
Brilliant
imagine him and Verratti as a midfield too.
He's one hell of a player, isn't he, Verratti?
If only he could stop himself from partying so much.
I know. Can you imagine how good he would be? Wow. Yeah. Anyway, on to Bayern then. We've done PSG to Bayern.
Who did Billy say for PSG?
I said Richarlison.
Yeah.
But I thought there was a joke. I thought there was a joke.
No, actually, he needs to go there.
I think Bayern need a centre back. I think they need a centre back, and I think they need someone when Lewandowski will move. No, I think they need someone a little bit on the older side. I think they should go for maybe Milan Skriniar from Inter Milan. I know he's been linked to PSG, but I think maybe he should be looked at by Bayern as well.
Yeah, he's an excellent defender.
Yeah, and whatever he lacks in pace, that can be made up by Dayot Upamecano.
Yeah, exactly. I think that'd be a good partnership. Yeah, I like that.
But they also need a striker. They also need a striker if Lewandowski leaves.
That's what I think their main need is. I know they've got Muller, but he's not a striker, is
Yeah, but they don't have any centre backs except Diot Upamecano.
Right.
Oh, and Luca Hernandez
I say, well, that's it.
because Sula left and
Because that Pavard, they've got Benjamin Pavard who can play there.
yeah, but I think he's stuck in between. I think he's not a right back. He's not a centre back. I think he would be a very good right centre back in a three at the back system, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I think he's very. I don't think he's physical enough for a centre back. He can be out muscled as a right back, so it doesn't make
yeah,
it too
I'm
greedy.
not the biggest fan of him. I've got to be honest. But I was just saying he provides cover there, so they've got cover. That's what I was saying. Right, they need a striker, and I think Harry Kane is too expensive. They're not going to get Vlahovic. Victoria Martinez is more of a second forward.
I'd go for Jude Bellingham for Bayern.
Yeah, but they don't need a midfielder, Billy.
Yeah, no, they don't need him.
He can play wide. He can play wide
He's
as well.
not a wide player.
They don't need a wide
He's
player
central
either.
player. He's a central player. What they need is a striker and a centre back.
Nice.
Which is why do you know who might actually do well there? He's not the greatest goal scorer or anything, but I think he'd do well there. Be Gabriel Jesus.
I don't think he's good enough for Bayern. I'll be honest with
I think
you.
he's
Not
that good,
a
but,
fan.
I agree.
If you've ever watched,
I agree with Billy. I agree with Billy. I don't think
but
he's good enough for Bayern.
But having watched the Bundesliga defending, I think he'd score goals for fun simply because they're shit. The defence is there. They just dive out the
Yeah,
way.
but if they only want to win Bundesliga, then they can sign Billy or they can sign me. They will
Yeah.
still win.
But the one
Yeah.
the one I'd actually say to go for, the reason why I wasn't going to say him is because I think I said him last week for somebody else. I can't remember who. Jonathan David. David, whichever it is.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say Patrick C.
That was the other one, but I don't think I'm not convinced he's quite good enough.
Yeah, but he fits the bill. He plays in Bundesliga. He scored tons of goals.
True. But yeah, good point. That is the way they like to sign them. I was just thinking because Jesus, well, they want it. He's available. He works hard. And he just provide a platform for them to build from.
Maybe they can go for Edinson Cavani on a free.
Yeah. I tell you,
Not that he's gonna play more than 10 games for them, but
Osimhen would be great for them as well. But again, not going to move there, is he? No point saying it. That's what. This is the problem. Is you've got to look at ones that might go there. And it tends to be either young players or players that are already in the Bundesliga.
oh bloody hell! We could have just mentioned Sadio Mane.
No, because we're not going for ones that are already likely to. We've already said that. It has to be ones that aren't already.
Yeah, but
involved.
it's not set in stone. It's not set in stone. Liverpool haven't
accepted an offer yet.
agreed a fee.
Yeah, that's why I was looking at people other than Mane, basically. Shall we move on anyway? Milan. AC Milan, not Inter Milan.
Oh, AC Milan. Don't know much about them.
Well, they just won the league, and they've got new owners. So they'll have some investment. To be fair, they've won the league, but they are the biggest spenders in Italy over the last few years. That's right. Nuno Mendes moved from Sporting permanent. I knew they'd signed someone. Sorry.
Who are you going for, Diggs, Milan?
I'm scratching my head because they need a centre back. They need a replacement for Franck Kessié. And the strikers have a combined age of 75, I think. They're two strikers. Yeah, Ibra is 40 and Giroud is 35, I think so.
Yeah, they're old.
Quite
They do
troublesome
need,
for them.
but I can't see them replacing. I think it's midfield they'll buy.
Oh, they need a midfielder as an imperative because Franck Kessié played almost every game for them. So they need a defensive type of midfielder. Who should they go for? Maybe I should have saved Ibrahim Sangare for this one.
Yeah. I said Matthias
Oh,
for
okay.
somebody else, didn't I?
I think I might have used Conrad Leimer for someone else as well, otherwise he would be a good
What
shout.
about Mikel Moreno? I know he didn't impress in England, but he's rebuilt his career, looking pretty good. So
Yeah, maybe they should go for Fabian Ruiz from Napoli.
that was the other one I looked at, but because it's Spanish.
Yeah, Fabian Ruiz for AC Milan.
He can play defence and attacking midfield as well as central midfield. He's very versatile.
I like both. I like both of them. I like Fabian Ruiz and I like Mikel Merino as well.
Yeah.
The thing, there are so many good midfielders around the world, and United have a starting midfielder, Fred and McTominay. It's a joke. It's a bloody joke.
You're right, Keith.
Bayern bought Ryan Gravenberch for only 20 million, and that's if they all the that's if they meet all the add-ons. How did they manage to cheap when United paid 50 million for Fred?
I don't know how.
It seems bizarre. So you saying then, Billy? So we going for Ruiz and Moreno.
Right, you said you wanted a forward. So I'm going to say DCL do a good job in Italy. Yeah.
Yeah, he would.
Not a bad start, actually. I think
Milan
it would be.
Fashion Week, it would be perfect.
Oh yes, oh yes.
He wants to be
Milan
a
and
fashionista.
yes.
Yeah, perfect. Milan, perfect place for him.
Will he even turn up? Will he even turn up?
Yeah.
Or would he be busy walking on the ramps?
Keep him busy on the keep him fit during the gaps between games.
Yeah. Apparently.
No, I'm saying all the catwalking. Right, into next then, and last one.
Okay, Inter Milan. I
Yeah,
think they need.
say Lukaku. He's going there anyway, isn't he?
Oh come on, Billy! You jumped in. I was gonna say they need a replacement for Lukaku, and it could be Lukaku, but
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but
I think
thinking,
it
what
could.
do they need other than that?
I think it could also be someone like a Patrick Schick, like who I mentioned just before.
Yeah.
He has played previously in Serie A as well. That could be an option. But I think they also need a centre back, the Inter Milan, because at least one of Skriniar and Depay is gonna leave. At least one.
Yeah, and Ranocchi has already left. And they've lost
Yeah, I think
Kolarov
so.
as well. They need a
So
left.
keeping that in mind, I'm gonna throw a name out there who has been linked with them, who has been negotiating with them. It's Nikola Milenkovic from Fiorentina.
Yeah, no,
And I
that's
know
a
of
great
him
shout.
because he's 6'5" and was linked to us
United.
before we got Harry Maguire. Yeah.
Yeah, he was the option, and United chose brilliantly there, didn't they? Oh God.
And you don't even have to have watched Milenkovic play at all to know
Yeah,
that
no, you got
we
the
took the
one.
wrong decision.
Even
We
if
took the wrong decision.
Even if Milenkovic is a one-legged donkey, he'd still be better than Maguire.
That's a wonky then. A one-legged dog.
Oh, God. I knew you were going to do that joke. It was so bad. Oh, God. 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 Oh, But I think you've
So-
got it there.
So one of you has to make another suggestion. Now, go on.
Yeah, I was just trying to think what else they need. Because they play three at the back, don't they?
Yeah, and Inzaghi has played three at the back while she was at last year as well.
Hmm.
So it seems to be his formation of choice as well.
Yeah, I can't see them changing that. They haven't got the players to play a back four.
But they've always been linked with the Torino centre back.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, Gresham Bremer.
But they've lost, but they've got Robin Gosens. I was thinking a left back, but they've got
Yeah.
Robin Gosens.
Yeah, but they don't need Gosens.
Yeah, and I know they need cover for him, but we're looking at players for the first team. Gosens, he's just done his first triathlon, didn't he? In the off season, he's certainly not going to struggle for fitness.
Yeah, maybe he was just trying to check out his knee he had injured? He had a long-term injury
I tell you
going
what
into this season.
They will need midfield. I mean, Vidal's going, isn't he? Central midfield.
Yeah, but they want. Who are you gonna bring in, because they already have Brozovic,
Yeah,
Barella,
we've seen those
and
gone.
Çalhanoğlu. Yeah, but they're gonna,
Vidal's
whoever
going.
is select is gonna either have to be a world-class player or gonna be a backup.
Yeah, that's true. Looking at it, I don't think they do need it that desperately. I was just thinking they might do, and they're all right up front with
They need players in
and Pereira.
numbers. They need players in numbers, but they don't need starting centre midfield,
No,
in my opinion.
what they need is someone who improves the team, and they have that they're going to attract that can improve their team. Obviously, Lukaku, they think will improve the strike force, which is worrying. How bad are the rest?
Yeah, but he was a very big success for them.
Yeah, but still.
It's very rare that a team signs someone for 75 million and makes a profit on them.
Shocking that they did,
Yeah.
let's be honest. It's hard to believe they did. Yeah, I can't see anybody but Milinkovic. I think it's a good shout, to be honest, I'm afraid. I hate to say it. But I can't see past him, to be honest. I don't know if you can come up with a better option at the back. I can't say Saliba because I've already said
You can again suggest Saliba.
No,
Yeah, you
can't-
can have
I can't
Saliba.
suggest him for everybody.
You can, honestly.
And anyway, it's a back three. I'm not sure he's suited to a back three, to be honest.
Or
No,
maybe
he can
Nathan
play that.
Collins,
Yeah.
another guy you've been raving about.
Oh, I really like him. I mean, Christian Romero's great, but he's not going to leave Spurs.
They can maybe go for Mary Demiral from Juventus.
Demiral,
Atalanta
yeah.
aren't gonna they're not gonna take up the option, it seems so.
Could do, yeah.
Oh, they should maybe go for Adam Webster. He actually plays in a back three as well.
Yeah.
But I think I used that suggestion last week.
What about
Maybe for
Guardiola?
Spurs. He's not moving. Surely he's not moving.
What,
He just
Guardiola?
signed last year. Yeah, Gvardiol. You mean the kid from RB Leipzig,
RB
right?
Leipzig, yeah.
Yeah, he only has played one season for them.
Yeah, but they'll
Surely
sell it.
he can
That's
move.
what they sell. They tend to sell if they get a profit, though, don't they?
Yeah, but then it
What
would
about-
be teams like Chelsea, Man United.
What about
Man City.
Koulibaly? I'm
Yeah,
not his
maybe he's
biggest
a
fan,
decent shout actually.
But he's
He
good
might
in the
be a
back.
decent shout.
Yeah. Yeah, why not? Can't say him. Can't really say him.
Oh, but
Yeah,
Koulibaly is over 30. I think he has Spurs written all over his name.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he does. All
Right,
West
boys,
Ham.
I'm afraid my time is up. My dinner is ready, and I am absolutely starving. I've been out to golf all day, come home to do this, and I have nothing to eat.
Before you go, Billy,
Go on,
you didn't join us last week, so throw us a name for Everton. Someone who you think should sign, you guys should sign, who is realistic and who's going to improve the first team. Just one guy.
Great
Just one.
question, though.
Not
Right.
not a whole starting 11, just one guy.
Okay? I'm going to say Ericsson. And I think he'll come. Yeah. How about that?
At least he ought to inspire the fucking dressing room.
Yeah. We need people like him. He'd be the one that says who is possibly on our radar. And I think we could get him. Possibly. So I'm going to leave you now, boys. Thanks very much, and I shall see you next week.
All right, mate.
I'll
Take
see
care
you
of yourself.
next
See you next Thursday, Bill.
Yeah, thanks, boys. Ta-ra,
Enjoy
mate.
your food.
I'm going to. Ta-ra, mate.
And I think, Deeps, you've hit the nail on the head of what we should talk about next.
Yeah, and it is Mr. Colin Wanker calling Van Dijk slow.
Yeah, I mean, it just shows his knowledge of football. He missed out on him, he said, because his scout said he was too slow. And he said this before. This isn't the first time he said this. I'd just like to point out, I have read him saying this before, that he turned him down because he was too slow. He said it before we played his team a couple of seasons ago, when he was calling was it Cardiff, when he was calling their centre back better than him.
Oh, I think it might be Cardiff.
Yeah, I think it was Cardiff, and he was saying their centre back was better than Van Dijk and all this kind of shite. The guy's a moron. He's just a self-publicising piece of shit who talks crap. Let's be honest, nobody on earth believes Van Dijk is slower than him. Nobody. I don't believe his scout said that at all. I think he's just trying to make excuses for being too stupid to take the deal for move for him. Not that I think he'd be bought him, not that I think he'd have moved to join Colin Wanker anyway, would he?
I think he might be slow, not Van Dijk.
Yeah, slow in the head if he thinks Van Dijk is slow. I mean, the guy's just incredibly fast when he gets going. And he's one of those players, he doesn't hurry, as in he doesn't look like he's hurrying, but you just watch him and he's past the forwards, like, can't keep up with him. So how can you say he's slow? Don't get that at all. It really does. I mean, what does he watch when he's watching football if he thinks Van Dijk's a slow player?
I don't think he's gotten over the fact that his scout recommended him to him, and then he never just followed through on that recommendation. I think it's more about jealousy.
I think so. That's sour grapes again, isn't it? He's a bit like Perez and Laporte and Tebber, just moaning sour grapes because they didn't get what they wanted. So it was shite anyway. I didn't get him because he's rubbish. I mean, come on. Slow. I wish I was that fucking slow when I was running. If I was that slow running, I'd come at the ground a lot quicker.
I don't think I've ever seen Van Dijk get outpaced. Yeah, I know he has very good positioning and reading of the game, but still, he doesn't get outpaced.
No, I've never seen anybody do him for pace. He just doesn't get beaten for pace. That's the thing. It's not like you can think of a time when you thought, oh, that forward did him for pace, because it just doesn't happen, does it? So you can't even understand what he's saying it for.
Even when he was at Southampton and when he was more error prone, being slower than someone wasn't his
No,
thing.
physically.
Then.
When we were discussing about having him, you know, when people we was looking at him and people were asking me about him, I said the thing with him is physically and technically he's the perfect defender, absolutely perfect because he's fast, strong. You know, everything physically about him is as good as it gets. It's like he looks like, you know, somebody's playing FIFA and they've adjusted the settings to give themselves a superstar play. And even when he stands next to people, you look at him, you think the guy's a monster. He looks like, you know, they've increased the size up 10% and improved the stats up 10% to make him faster and stronger, and even his technique is that good and that. It's only his mental, sometimes he would fall asleep. That was his only issue. It's just that, yeah, I don't know what he was thinking. I think he's just an arsehole, to be honest. He just wants to get his name in the papers, doesn't he?
Yeah, it seems like it.
That's the way he works. Horrible man. Horrible, horrible, horrible man. You know, I wish he was gone from football for good. The sooner he is, the better for everyone.
And he comes out and says this after having egg on his face from his critique of Jet Spence.
Yeah,
I
you'll never make it, lad. You'll never make it. Oh.
Yeah. He never makes it.
It's because he's skillful, and one that doesn't like skill.
It didn't even take him like a few seasons to get going. It's like he said you're not gonna make it, and then he makes it to Premier League.
Yeah, within
before and Wanker gets sacked as well.
Yeah,
just to rub it.
That's brilliant. That's what I don't understand why anyone employed that prick. That's the thing. I just don't get it. He's never been a good manager. He's a horrible man. He's the kind of person you don't want around your club or your players. But there you go. For me, I just don't understand.
Mr. Take percentage from the players.
Yeah, exactly. And there's many other things as well. I can remember when he was screaming at his players to break their fucking legs because he wanted to get players sent off so we could have a game cancelled because the team were losing something like 4 or 5-0. How was that when he was at Sheffield United? I can't remember. He was managing some lower league side at the time anyway.
How can any TV station, any media justify paying a guy when he comes out saying ridiculous things like Van Dijk is slow?
Exactly, and it's the BBC as well who are meant to be, are meant to have a higher standard as well. Ridiculous.
Yeah, to a foreigner like me, BBC are like the pinnacle of British media.
They were.
Like even when I search for football rumors or football news, if I see it on their page, then I think, oh, then this has been done. But
yeah, not
incredible.
Anymore. Not anymore, mate. Honestly, because I've found that they don't fact check their stories anymore and stuff. Half the stuff they put on there is absolute crap. I have to double check everything on there now. It used to be, when I was doing the review of the day, if I saw it on there, I could assume it was correct, you know what I mean? But now, they put rumours up as stories and stuff, which, as in factual, they say, they put rumours out as like stories of truth when it's not true. It's a rumour. Things like that. It's like, that's not what the BBC used to be. If you read it on the BBC, you knew it was true. Not anymore. Can't trust them at all. And then they employ all nothing. It just proves the point. While we're talking about lower league managers, John Thomas has taken over at Blackburn Rovers. It's a bit of a strange one for me. I didn't even know he was in management, but apparently he won the league twice in Sweden with Malmo before leaving them at the end of the year. They've been out of work since the winter, because obviously their season's a winter year. sorry, over the year, you know, January to December season in Sweden. So, be interesting to see how he gets on. Andrea Pirlo at Fatih Karagümrük as well. Be interested to see how he gets on. It's a strange one as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, I found it very strange. It's not even like your Fenerbahce or Galatasaray, like a big team in Turkey. It's like some random team.
Yeah, I've got to be honest. I didn't actually
Never heard of the team.
No, you know, I've not seen them. I've not read anything on them before. It's the first time I heard the name. It was like, oh, maybe that's why they went for Andrea Pirlo then. Get their name out there.
Well, maybe. You're
It
right.
probably
maybe
has helped. Yeah, it's probably a big. I mean, for them, it's probably caused lots of news stories and that and media attention that they wouldn't have otherwise got. I can't think why otherwise. He wasn't exactly successful, was he?
Oh, but he did finish fourth with Juventus.
Yeah, exactly. Wasn't he the first one to lose the league in like 11 years with Juve or something ridiculous like that?
Yeah, but you can't say those things about Pirlo. He's a legend. You have to say he finished fourth. He got Juventus Champions League.
Well, do you know what? I used to watch him as a player, and okay, I can see he had ability. I'm not going to deny that. I'm not talking about like lack of ability. But I wouldn't have had him anywhere near a team of mine. He's a lazy guy, he was. I remember watching him play for Italy, and he was stood a millimetre away from Raheem Sterling. Raheem Sterling got the ball passed to his feet, in front, you know, facing him. Didn't even make any attempt to stop him, and he just ran straight past him. And Pirlo never moved once, never made any attempt to even block him or anything. Nothing. Just stood and watched him run past him. And I'm thinking, what are you doing? At least stick a foot out, something. Do something. Step sideways to make it difficult for him. Spread yourself, anything. Just make an effort. You just watch. And that for me is, so I just don't understand why he's so highly rated. For me, he's just a bit lazy. Fantastic ability, but you know, you have to work. It's no good having ability if you don't put in effort. Having 10 others do your running for you, that to me is just not right.
Maybe that is why he had Gattuso when he
did,
excelled
yeah.
at Milan and Vidal when he excelled at
Exactly why. And that's for me, I don't like that. It's a bit like Pogba, he's been covered by others, you know what I mean? It's not a great player for me. That's not the way it works for me. But there you go, he's got plenty of success, so I don't think he'll care about what I think. Let's be honest.
Let's be honest, he's never gonna hear us. So.
That's true.
We can flag him off as much as we want.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's not really of any consequence what we think to him. Anyway, so we'll move on. Shall we talk about these NFT things because of the tweets? Because Michael Owen, Tammy Abraham and Ashley Cole have been forced to be tweets made by the Advertising Standard Agency because they made claims about what about these NFTs they were advertising. Like, because Owen claimed his NFTs were the only ones guaranteed not to lose money, after they were sold they wouldn't lose money.
And I want to ask you, did it lose any money?
I don't know, mate. I don't even know if they were launched yet. I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, but come on, it's Owen. It's Michael Owen, so surely it turns out to be a loser.
I can't believe they
it
made
has
any
to turn
money.
out to be a
Who
loser.
the fuck's gonna buy them? It's not like he's got any. Nobody likes him. He's not got a fan. I mean, Man United fans hate him because he used to play for Liverpool. Stoke fans hate him because he was shit there. Real Madrid fans hate him because he was always injured. Liverpool fans hate him because he played for Man United and shit on Liverpool from a great height when he left. And forced Liverpool to sell Robbie Fowler and many other reasons as well.
Yeah, Newcastle fans hate him because he was a very big financial burden on them.
and didn't turn up for half the games. He feigned injury most of his career so he could stay at home with his horses. He did a lot of things. Him and his fucking helicopters. Oh, horrible man. But anyway, so I can't imagine anybody's going to be buying them. You only look at John Terry's NFTs. They lost 90% value after they were launched. And the Liverpool did an issue this year. They sold just 5% of them. I mean, it still made the club millions, but 5% of them. That's not good in anybody's eyes, is it? I mean, is there anything, are these just, is it just something that was a fad that's not going to work out and it's going to end up dying off, or is the real value there? Because, I mean, some of the ones that are selling for huge money, these ape things, a lot of them are being, they're not even real buys, if you see what I mean. They're not actually genuinely being bought by people. It's con. What's happening is it's the people making things that are a lot of it is the people making things are buying them themselves to up the price rather than them actually holding value, if you see what I mean.
I just don't understand this thing. I just don't understand why people would want to spend loads of money on something that you can claim ownership of but can't actually own it.
Yeah, they don't actually own it. They don't have anything. It's no use to them whatsoever. I just don't understand what the point is in them. I don't get it at all. It really makes no sense to me, and I can't see there being a future in it. Not in the way they are now. I can see that, there's NFTs is in the microtransaction ones, where you get where you get things in games like Fortnite where they have the different clothing for their characters and stuff like that. There's a small value in them, you know what I mean? But there's not any massive long-term future to be, because even them, they don't hold value for long-term. It's only in the short term people want them when they first come out, and then the value drops afterwards. I don't see a long term. I just don't see a real value in them. But then people would say that about trainers. People say to me, I don't know, because I have trainers, that, don't you? And they say to me they're not worth anything, but I've got some that are worth many, many times what I paid for them, but even though I've worn them. So, maybe they will count, maybe it will work out in the future, but I just don't see any value in them in the long term. I mean, somebody could just make a copy. It's just a piece of it. It's not even real art. It's like, you're not actually owning anything, are you? You're just owning a few ones and zeros on the internet, in essence.
Maybe we just don't understand it.
Yeah, maybe we're just too old.
You're just too old, and I'm just too.
You're just too rich to know the value of money, in your mansion. It's more like a castle, I'd have said, actually, come to think of it. Maybe are you like a warlord in the book?
No.
Because it does look a bit
I'm
like
a working class. I'm a working class.
My ass.
No. I am.
Hey, look, I've met a lot of people, Nepalese in Dubai. There's a lot of them there working, mostly in security guards, and they're on the buildings. Like, you tend to talk to if you talk to people like that there, because a lot of people don't take any notice of the security, but I always used to talk to them, and they don't live in houses like that deep. Not working class people, mate. You're rich. You're upper class. Let's be honest. Like Billy.
No.
Like Billy.
No. Billy might be upper class, but I'm as working class as it gets.
Obviously, I'm upper class, being from Bootle. Don't get much, we don't get much posher than that. As everyone listening will no doubt immediately be thinking Bootle, upper class, definitely, very classy. Posh. It's a bit like, if they were putting Buckingham House in Liverpool, they'd definitely put it there.
Oh, you're posh then.
Oh,
You're
oh,
from
yeah,
a posh-
oh yes, mate.
posh-
Oh, definitely. The poshest part of Liverpool altogether. Definitely. And if you believe
It's
that,
really that bad. It was really that bad.
it's the docks,
I think
mate. It's where all the docks are there. So it's all dock houses and that, like, you know. I still remember when the toilet was down the yard. You know, and you had to go down the yard to go to live. My granddad was gutted when the council came and fitted one inside and removed that one. He cried for weeks because it was the only time he got peace and quiet was to go and sit on the shitter with the paper to do the crossword. But God, it was cold during the winter when you had to go, when you needed to go to bog, and it was cold, so cold. Going down the bottom of the yard for this shit, like, oh. Anyway, sorry. We're getting a bit sidetracked again, which isn't like us, because we normally hold the topic constantly, don't we? Now, is there anything else? Oh, I don't know, do you want to talk about the EFL kit rules?
Oh, you take over that.
Actually, because they've made the small change to help help people colourblind. I mean, in Italy, they've already banned green kits unless a team has it as their home kit already, if you see what I mean. If it's their home kit colours, they can wear green kits. But other than that, nobody's allowed green kits in Italy because TV companies don't like the colour class, saying it makes it difficult for people watching at home. So they've had. So now they start the EFL have been looking into it. You know, colourblind. It's difficult for people watching the game. So they've now made it where the kit rules no longer say that the home team has to wear their home kit. Now, if the other team, if it's too close a match to the other team's kit, they can wear an away kit, a third kit, or even mix and match between any of their three kits to get, so they could wear a home shirt, away shorts, and third kit socks if need be, so that they can, avoid colour clashes. Apparently, a lot of people are colourblind, a lot more men than women as well. It affects men more than women, apparently. So I didn't know that. I mean, a lot of people I know seem to be fucking colourblind. I struggle with I see colours differently to a lot of people. Like, I'll think something's green and everyone will say, no, that's not green, it's blue or whatever, or purple or something. But I wouldn't have called myself colourblind. Like, it's just, I can't see it as the colour, you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Because it's not that I'm colourblind. I can't not tell colours apart. I can see that that's one colour and that's a different colour. But it's just I can't always tell that it's green or blue or purple or whatever. I sometimes think everyone will say, no, that's definitely green, and I'll be looking at it going, it looks like purple to me or whatever, or then apparently green-red's the most common now, most common colour blindness. Isn't that why they put amber lights in traffic lights in the first place, to make it easier for people to tell them apart? Put a gap in between the red and green. I remember reading somewhere. I don't know if that's true though. That's just I remember reading. It's one of those.
I can ask you.
If
you really want to know that, I can ask.
What? Who would you ask?
My sister's in optometrist, so I can ask her.
Is she? Oh yeah. Ask her just so I know, but not now. Like, ask her afterwards.
Yeah, not now.
For the future, yeah.
Yeah, maybe by next week. Maybe by next week I can ask her.
Yeah, because I'd be interested to know just out of interest rather than for this. I'm sure nobody listening, they're probably like, oh no, just fucking end it. This is boring, like. So yeah, I think we should end there because I don't think there's anything else left, is there? I think we got through it all. And I need to be up early tomorrow because I've got to go and get my visa sorted tomorrow. Because it's up on Saturday.
Thursday.
So yeah. see you next Thursday. Thank you, Billy, if you're listening. And thank you, Dukes. And thank you, Rob, for not waking up in time to make it back to make it on this week. Because he did say he was going to have a nap and then he'd be on, but he said he'd be on in like, he said he'd be on about 4 hours ago, but still isn't here, so. Yeah, so cheers, Rob, thanks for that, mate. and cheers to Bazza, he's on holiday. Apparently he's eating dolphins or watching dolphins or something, I'm not sure which.
And cheers to Abbott for again going for another mani pedi session.
Or whatever it is he's doing.
And if anyone is listening to us this deep and is thinking maybe it's just a running gag, it's a joke. No, it's not.
No,
he's genuinely mani pedi.
Yeah, Abid regularly misses out because he can't do it because he's got a mani pedi appointment. That's not a joke, that's a genuine thing. No, it does feel like a joke, we know. Yeah, anyway, we'll see you next Thursday. Thank you everyone if you've listened this long in. You really need to get a life, I think, though, to be honest, because this is like 3 hours, 20 minutes of it. But anyway, take care of yourself. Thank you for listening, anyone that does. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everyone. Anyone. It should be more like anyone.
Yeah,